Good to see all of you. I am here to drop in for a live. We're doing things a little bit differently with our live this week for the community Panchakarma that we're dropping in on. This is normally the day when I would do the live solely on Cobra's medicine bag, and we would focus on food and body image issues, how to integrate these challenges with what we have laid out in the two courses that we're using, the two free courses that are available to all of you on cobrasmedicinebag.com that are guiding us through this Panchakarma experience. We're in week 2. If you're just coming to this is a perfect time to hop on in and join in if you're feeling drawn to this. Really, you can drop in with this just about any time during the fall and early winter season, and it'll serve you well. It's a little bit different than when we do Panchakarma in kapha season, in the spring season, where there's more of a kind of a shortened window of time when it's appropriate to do that kind of work that we do there with the cleansing. But this is more of a gentle, nourishing, building cleanse, a little bit different of a focus. So, anytime you come to this in the fall or the winter season, early winter season, anytime also that you're just feeling really stressed or like your nervous system is taxed, is a wonderful time to come to this material and work with it. So those courses are free. In fact, all of my courses for Ayurveda at cobrasmedicinebag.com is completely free. Okay, all of it's free. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't need to give me an email. There's no registration required, nothing. You can just go under the all courses tabs. You'll see the ones that are open listed there. You might see some other listings there. Those aren't courses. Those are books that I'm working on that later on will be released. So that's what that's about. Cobra's Medicine Bag is nonprofit. It's everything I do there is for seva. It's to give back to the community. Down the road, I might have my books there, and that might be a way that I bring a little bit of revenue my way. But right now, my vision for it is it's an educational resource to empower people to take charge of their health care through prevention, which is what Ayurveda is all about. Also, Ayurveda is all about understanding that we're each unique and our needs are unique, and there's not just like one solution that fits for everybody. So this is what we're using as the basis. And today we're doing this broadcasting to both Cobra's Medicine Bag YouTube, but also to Broad Coven. And I decided to just merge both of you today because I think that food and body image issues can certainly come into play when we're looking at doing any kind of cleansing dietarily, which is what we're looking at this week. And so I thought, let's just go ahead and drop in, on both channels and bring this in and just let it be an open forum of support for everybody today. Also, I got my birthday coming up on Friday, so I'm going to be taking Friday off. And Saturday, we have a pre-scheduled live on Broad Coven, the broadcast that I'm going to be doing with Brenda Yotis, who is a very much a broad in her own right, very strong, salt of the earth kind of sister who also is a woman of the goddess and has a lot of wisdom to share. And we have a very interesting connection and relationship, and just a funny story about how we came to be connected and what our journey has been like with each other. But we also have a lot of love for Freya. And so we're going to be doing a live, what would Freya do? And it should be a lot of fun. We're going to bring in some Seder. We're going to bring in some runes. We're going to bring in some tarot. And it's also going to be new moon that day in Libra and a solar eclipse. So we're going to work with these energies and just kind of get some insight in from the Norse side of things. Hello, I see somebody just dropped in here. I'm going to turn the comments on. Going to get a little insight from Norse tradition. Hey, Jer, good to see you. Wonderful to have you here. So be on the lookout for that on Saturday. We're going to just see what's coming in for everybody, for the collective, for the next lunar cycle getting kicked off with that new moon solar eclipse on Saturday. So that's why we're switching around the schedule a little bit today. Okay. I also got clients that I'm tending to, and I've been busy with that. And I got a reading deal going on right now. So just doing the opening formalities here. If you want a reading with me, now's the time to really take advantage of that. I got a reading special for the holidays. It's my holidays reading special. I'm starting it early this year because I got the memo that we're meant to have Yule Christmas season early this year. So it's actually officially kicked off now, and it goes through December 24th. It's 2 1-hour reading sessions for $80. It's a steal of a deal. And I have gift certificates, and they can be delivered digitally. They can be personalized with a message, and they look really nice, and people love receiving reads as gifts. You can keep both sessions for yourself. You can keep one for you, gift another. There's no limit to how many packages you can buy either. So, you know, something to keep in mind. I only do it once a year. If you're interested in that, there's only one way to get hooked up with that, and that's to email me at broadcoven@gmail.com. I'm no longer on any other social media platforms. I'm just here exclusively at YouTube, okay? And again, you want the free courses that are guiding our Panchakarma experience, just drop in at cobrasmedicinebag.com. You'll see them both listed on the homepage, Grace in Crisis, and the VATA course, Roots with Wings, Build VATA Resilience in 6 weeks, and just click on that button for instant access and you're in. And I don't mind if you even photocopy off the courses. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Just only use them for personal use, okay? That's all I ask, because I'm not charging for them. So don't use them as the basis for, you know, any professional work you're doing. But do be sure to pass it on as a resource to other people, because the more people that can take advantage of free holistic healthcare, the better. I mean, that's my vision with it. All right. So we're going to drop in with a collective read, okay? Split of the deck right there. I saw 9 of Cups, and following it, the 9 of Pentacles. So this is a good way to start off. I feel like right now, with where we're at with Panchakarma, we're being asked to create some breathing room, okay? Breathing room. And this breathing room is really so we can get focused, so we can get organized, so we can kind of clear out the cobwebs of any like old emotional stuff that we're still hanging on to, anything that's kind of like distracting us, getting in the way. It's kind of funny. What's distracting me right now is this whale rib that I worked with last night. I did a meditation visualization session, and it was for helping you gain a key to access your Akashic records. So I'm going to just move this a little bit aside here, so I actually can shuffle freely, because it's kind of taking up all the space. Let's see, how can I do this? Oh, I'll just move you over here, whale. And then we got right here, I just happened to look. Yes, everything's about to get moving, okay? And so I feel like this is sort of like a real reset point with where we're at, especially with the new moon in Libra coming this Saturday on the 14th, and with it being a solar eclipse. I think it's a partial solar eclipse. I don't think it's full solar eclipse. We already wrapped up our lunar eclipse cycle, okay? So what's going to be happening from the 14th on, and we'll talk more about that when we do the broadcast on Saturday, what's going to be happening from the new moon on through the remainder of the year is we're going to really be starting to build the light. Now, as we're starting to build the light, a lot more is going to come to light. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of you that are just like, oh my gosh, there's already been so much that's come to light. There's already so much I've had to release. There's already so much I've had to process. But that's why you're being asked to kind of create this breathing room. And it's right in sync with this week for us with our Panchakarma, our community Panchakarma, because what we're really doing is we're giving ourselves a reset, okay? We're like resetting our nervous system, you know? We're getting grounded, we're getting focused, we're creating a good foundation for moving forward so we can follow through, because fall season is about following through. If you hope to really receive the full harvest, then you got to make hay while the sun shines, okay? So we're not in the dark of winter yet. Fall is the time to really, you know, finish up the last little things that you have to do. Make sure you do a systems check, make sure everything's in place, that you got yourself on a really supportive schedule, that you're nixing time wasters, energy drainers, that you're really using your time in a way that is efficient, productive, and also fulfilling. You know, this is important too. There's the pleasure principle. There's a need to really be mindful of the health at this time too, really shore up the physical support so you can make it through flu season, you know, and not have to be down for the count or miss out on work or experience other things, you know, that can really rock your stability and further impact your nervous system. And this is also something that's coming in with the Grace and Crisis course that we're working through in tandem with the Roots with Wings course. So this is very valuable information. And a lot of people do feel like they're navigating crisis at this time, or they're just coming out of a crisis. Now it's like the cleanup work. Okay, I dealt with a lot. I let go of a lot. I experienced a lot of grief. I've been doing a lot of release work. I've been doing a lot of deep healing. It hasn't always been easy. I've been in transition mode. You know, I still haven't figured out where everything's going to land. And so now is the time to just sort of have this week to drop in really deep and create some space for yourself, create an opportunity to have this pause, okay? Where you can just kind of like expand into the moment without distractions, and you can get a lay of the land internally within your own like inner landscape, but also in the world around you, and just figure out what is the best way for me to move forward. So I feel like I'm really in an empowered position. There's a lot that's going to start moving here with that Wheel of Fortune. And this is good. The movement is moving us out of this like fixed position. When we look at that Wheel of Fortune, we're looking at the fixed signs. Fixed sign energy has been coming up a lot lately in the downloads I've been noticing. So we're looking at Aquarius, we're looking at Scorpio, we're looking at Taurus, we're looking at Leo. Okay, so these are signs that may be really struggling at this time. You know, it might be a little added note of importance to create this breathing room because there's something that's still kind of keeping you in this gridlock state. I would also say look at your charts, okay? Notice where these signs are in your charts. Do you have any planetary placements with these signs? If you don't, you can always check out those houses. You know, what do you got going on in those houses? It might give you a clue about where you're in too fixed of a position, okay? So Astrodienst is a really great website with a lot of astrological resources. You can get your free natal chart done there. And they also will hook you up with a whole, you know, variety of chart options. So you can really start to dive into astrology if it's something you don't really know about, or if you're not really familiar with your natal chart. You'll just need to know what time you're born and the place where you were born, because it works with latitude and longitude. Yeah, then you're pretty much set. It'll break it down for you. And that can be very helpful in this climate. Like, I really feel it's coming to the forefront so much more strongly that this is what we really need in terms of how we approach astrology, that we need to really understand the way that all the signs are operating within our chart. And this can give us a big clue about the way to move forward in the most empowered way. Okay, so I'll put a link to that site in the comments because it's not astrodienst.com. That is the name of the site, but that's not their web address. So I'll put it in the comments. I'll pin it there after this live. So you can figure out, you know, what's going on in your birth chart. It can be helpful. So if you don't have any placements in fixed signs, you can always look at the houses. So when we're looking at Aquarius, we're looking at the 11th house, and that rules over like the social circle, also the World Wide Web, community. When we're looking at Scorpio, we're looking at the 8th house. We all know what the 8th house is all about, right? It's the deep dive into the subconscious. It's also the place where we deal with the more shadowy side of things. It's also the place of the cycles of life, birth, life, death, rebirth, transitions, psychic awareness, sexuality, okay? And then when we're looking at Leo, we're looking at the 5th house, which is all about friendships and pleasure, you know, the lighter, brighter side of life, having fun, and our relationship with all of that. And then when we're looking at Taurus, we're looking at the 2nd house, which is about what we value. It's also about values in a very practical way. It's about finances. It's about how we're using our investments of our time, our energy, and are we being valued for our contributions? So all of these things come to the forefront, right? So you might want to pay attention there, but it looks like we're about to head into a time of renewed health with the 9 of Pentacles. where you've been feeling like there's been challenges financially. It looks like things are going to start to free up. You're going to be feeling more in your element, all right? And this is specifically for this collective here at Broad Coven and at Cobra's Medicine Bag. So obviously, you're having this turn of fortune and you're getting this momentum because you're doing the work. You know, that's what Panchakarma does. Panchakarma really like clears out all the old stuff and it opens your road. It allows you to move forward. So it looks like there's some kind of personal gratification that's coming your way, some kind of reward that's coming your way, something that's really going to have you feeling good, make you feel like, okay, I'm back on it again, you know, and may have been rough for a while, but I feel like things are starting to look up. All right, I might be getting to the other side of this. But I do feel there's need to not let that be an excuse to sort of like, okay, now I'm going to just like, you know, go the opposite mode and head into sloth mode and like just put up my feet and think I got it made and I'm home free. No, there's still work to do. Okay. So there is a need to follow through, but I feel like this is an opportunity with the second week's material for both courses for us to do that last little bit of any kind of letting go, release work, and really get our systems in place, you know, get on schedule, get on point. And then do the 4 days of the resilience reset, which is it's cleansing for the lungs and it's cleansing for the intestines, but it's more of like a nurturing, building kind of a cleanse. It does require a little bit of dietary shifting, and that's why I think it's helpful that we're covering this over here on both Cobra's Medicine Bag and Broad Coven. Just so those that do deal with food or body image issues, or maybe those who have repeatedly been on diets throughout their life can know how to like navigate this if you've been trying to recover from that and get back to a more natural way of eating. Don't worry, it's very harmonious with this and you won't feel restricted in any way. You're not going to go hungry. This is not what you would typically think of in terms of a cleanse, all right? And it's very gentle since it's for Vata season. The focus is more on building and nourishing. So let's just get into that. I kind of feel like starting off with that framework point. Let me go ahead first and just kind of get a baseline out here on the board, though, for the cards. We're looking at bringing things to completion. There's that fixed sign energy again. And as I'm looking over here, there's an angel card that's wanting to slide off the top of the deck here. So I'm going to take it. Knight of Pentacles. I love it. It's perfect. This is right in alignment. Ooh, and there's a little rip in this card. I don't know how that happened. I don't know when that occurred, but there's a little, this Knight of Pentacles is a little worse for the wearer. Maybe you feel like you've really been stalled out. Like it's been a lot of effort just to get things moving in your life, to get things manifested in your life. Well, you know, there's this piece with the Knight of Pentacles. You really got to plant a seed, and maybe the seeds you planted before, they're just not meant to bear fruit, okay? There might be something you need to bring to a completion here. You might need a new view on a situation. I think you've been dealing with a lot of frustration and irritation, collective, okay? With that pearl there, you don't get to a pearl of wisdom or any kind of treasure without, you know, going through a fair amount of aggravation. Again, you could be dealing with a fixed sign energy or fixed signs. This could be coming up very front and center for you, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, or Leo, right? There's something here that needs to be brought to a close, but you want to take the wisdom of what you've been through in this karmic cycle forward with you. It'll serve you well moving forward. We know with this butterfly energy in the background that bringing things to a closure and also coming out of a fixed position, okay? A fixed hand is a losing hand. So if you're too stubborn, if you're too set in your ways, if you're not willing to flow with things as you start to move into this time of transition and great shift, you're going to get left behind. You'll find things just kind of like move into this place of gridlock, because with the energy moving forward with Pluto moving into Capricorn, it's really preparing to head back into Aquarius, which kicks off the dawning of the age of Aquarius. This is revolutionary energy, evolutionary energy. You're meant to grow. You're meant to evolve. You're meant to get a different perspective, to look at things in a new way, to do what you haven't done before. This is big. Like if you keep doing the same thing and you keep getting the same result, but you're expecting something different, at some point here, you really have to look at the way you're going about things. And that's what this week is all about. And that's also what this recent transit we just had with Pluto going in direct into the house of Capricorn, you know, is all about too. It's about establishing that framework to build something upon, something new upon. So we know that we all had like this tower. All of us have been going through towers, and it's been really rolling out strongly. I would say ever since like probably once we really got into Leo season, right? It started to roll out, and it's kind of come to a crescendo in September. Now we're sort of like sorting through the rubble of these realizations that we've had, the things that have come to light. I mean, you may wonder why I'm laughing. It's not really laughable stuff. I mean, we've all been kind of going through it. We've all been rocking and rolling. We've all had, you know, the scales fall from our eyes, and we're seeing things as they are, and not all of it's pretty, okay? But sometimes you gotta just do, you know? And sometimes you have to laugh at yourself in the way that you kind of like trip yourself up, because you knew, you know, you knew better. You saw the signs, you had the intuitions, you know, and most often we trip ourselves up by just not really getting in touch with ourselves and our own intuitive knowing to allow that to be our guide, right? But you got the memo now, okay? So it's time to like open up your mind, you know, be prepared to evolve, be prepared to grow, be prepared to do something in a new way. You might be scrapping some old plans. You might be getting some space from certain people, certain connections. It doesn't mean it has to be permanent, but I think that the majority of you have probably laid down some boundary lines in your life, and that's good. You need the breathing room, okay? There's something that needs to be moved forward in a new way, you know? You can't keep going about it the way you were. It's just going to lead to more stagnation. And you're meant to transform, and there is transformation happening here. Look at this butterfly energy with all these butterflies. It makes me think of the migration of the butterflies. It makes me think of the ancestors when I think of the monarchs. October is the season of the migration for the monarch butterfly. It's a big deal. I've been noticing more monarchs, which is a really good sign, because there has been a lot of danger around them going into extinction. Like their numbers have really been dwindling, and that has a lot to do with what's able to grow too, right? I mean, we rely on that pollination, that cross-pollination, in order for the flowers to grow and for the bees to have what they need. And all of life relies on this kind of seeding, right? And so when we're looking at that Knight of Pentacles that's worse for the wear, it's like you have some ideas about what you want your new beginning to look like, but what's kind of been the problem leading up to this point is there's been all of this sort of like changing course, you know, as new information has come to light. Well, finally, what was hidden under the moon is now out of the way, okay, because we wrapped up the lunar eclipse season. We still got these solar eclipses to wrap up though, okay, and this is going to be a period where what was in the dark now is really going to be seen, and this helps to illuminate our way forward, right? So we got a little moment of pause here, right, before this really kicks off with this new moon cycle, all right? But just the fact that the broadcast is going to be coming on to do a Freya live gives you a clue about the kind of spirit you're going to need to move forward in this next cycle. So this is a chance to just drop in. Okay, yeah. We really went through that. All right. Okay, the lay of the land's a little different now. What do I want to plant now? And what are the practicalities of that? What do I really need to do to move forward? Like the nuts and bolts, the boring stuff, the Capricorn stuff, the Saturnian stuff, getting on a schedule, taking care of my health, making sure I'm on my appointments, you know, this kind of stuff, the structure. And it says here, light of understanding acquires knowledge and cures illness. So where there was illness, where there were things that weren't really thriving in your life, whether that's with your physical health, whether that's with your mental health, your emotional health, your friendships, your relationships, your unions, your business prospects, your finances, as you start to gain new understanding about the new way to move forward, and also the structure that needs to be put in place around that, you'll have the knowledge you need to really move forward in an empowered way. This closes the old cycle, and it's butterfly effect, okay? One thing leads to another, and it changes everything across the board, okay? So this is a really good energy to come in just to sort of like launch us off. Let's see, what does this completion look like? What are we supposed to do during this week, this breathing room we're getting here? How can we be supported in this work? And what opportunities is it opening up for us, Spirit? You're ending some contracts and you're renewing other contracts. In some cases, you're signing on to whole brand new contracts. For some of you, this is in the realm of business. For some of you, this is in the realm of legalities. For some of you, this is related to creative projects and getting signed on maybe, or getting some kind of sponsorship. This is making a business deal. This is applying for that loan, applying for that funding, applying for that grant, so you can go to school, do what you want to do. This is the makings of your next chapter. For those of you that are writing a book, maybe you're going to finally like get started on it. You're going to write that book. You're going to write that screenplay. For some of you, this is dissolving marriages. For some of you, this is tying the knot, okay? For some of you, this is canceling contracts. You're like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this job. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not obligated to, you know, hitch myself to this post anymore. I'm moving on from this. I'm going to write my own way forward. For some of you, this is, you know, renewing a contract. This is, let's try this again. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's heal with each other. Let's see what we can create moving forward this time. For some of you, this is moving, getting a new house, okay? Or getting rid of a house. There's lots of different ways that you can look at this. For some of you, this is your soul family. A lot of you have your soul family coming in, and you're realizing that in the process of new characters coming in that are going to be part of this next chapter, there's some room that needs to be made, some breathing room, so you can explore these new connections. And so you're starting to really look at, where are you still nurturing connections that don't really feel supportive? Or where do you have some connections that are actually working against you? And you need to get some perspective here, some distance, some space. Perhaps you're also just needing some time alone, you know, and this may be necessary. This is something that came up in this week's material for the courses, is unplugging a bit, you know. Now would be a good time. It's kind of traditional that when we're going through PANCHAKARMA, that we try to unplug as much as possible. So naturally, I'm here. This is part of my work, so I'm going to be here. But I do focus on more kind of personal growth, spirituality, personal development type of material when I'm here. So it supports me in PANCHAKARMA. You know what I mean? And it's not that you have to unplug completely, but where you're kind of just like investing your time and energy in things to kill the time, and they're not really feeling supportive, or they're feeling like time wasters or energy drainers or distractionary, okay? Or maybe there's drama attached, or maybe it just feels crappy, but for some reason you feel obligated to give your time and energy to this person, place, or thing. This week, you're being asked to kind of give yourself an excuse to just sort of like unplug from all of that, these obligations where you can, social media where you can, okay? And even just in your interactions, like have a little alone time, just drop in with yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of you have gone through some heavy stuff, and you're in a process of still integrating it, you know, and that's a big, important part of healing. And when it comes to healing, you don't always need to have a bunch of people around you. And sometimes it actually can be counter effective to you getting to the other side of whatever it is you're struggling with. If you have too many people, like, you know, kind of wanting to know what's going on with your healing process, or inserting their opinions, giving unwanted advice, or the worst, making you take care of their feelings as you're navigating a crisis or something heavy in your life, or some kind of trauma in your life, you know, they're upset about what you're feeling. Now you're distracted from doing what you need to do to get yourself in a stable place. And now you're coing on what they're feeling about your experience. Like, that doesn't work. You may have been dealing with this. You may have needed to create some boundary lines, you know, and that's okay. There could be people that are upset about this But at this point, you can't really worry about that, right? You need to do what you have to do to get yourself stabilized, get yourself in a place where you really shore up your own internal support. And so you can also see things clearly, all right? Because if you've been dealing with a lot of upheaval, transition, uncertainty in your life, or having difficulty in your relationships, your friendships, online, at work, you name it, that can really stir up a lot of stuff, and it can stir up a lot of subconscious stuff and a lot of old activating stuff that connects you to unhealthy patterns that don't serve you, and that can start to make things murky where you can't see things clearly. So sometimes it's good just to have a little okay, a little space, a little breathing room, nobody else to take care of, no other opinions to listen to, no distractions, no algorithm, programming my view of my world or myself. I can just drop in with me. I can drop into this body, into this vessel. This vessel, that its gift is it allows me to feel. That's why you have a body, so you can feel your way through things, so you can connect with your senses. I mean, life, if it's truly lived to its fullest, it's a sensory experience. And that's what the body is all about. It's this beautiful vehicle that allows you to experience life through, where you get to engage all of your senses and take in all the richness and the joy and the pleasure of that. Now, a lot of times we get kind of distracted by the heaviness or the shadow in life, and this can become even more convoluted or tainted or distorted if there's too many cooks in the kitchen. And so we're programmed, to kind of see things through others' perspectives. We take on projections, and it mars our own view. And so this is about you really getting clear about, well, what's my truth, and how do I really see things, and how do I really feel about things, and what feels right to me. So having this week, this second week here, to really drop in and like rewrite your story, okay? And like maybe burn the old one. Maybe you want to write down. This would be a very helpful exercise if you want to work on this. Maybe you want to write down your old story, your old narrative. Like, what have you been telling yourself? Just let the shadow have one last hurrah. Write it out. Write it out as if it's a contract, as if it's your deal with the devil. You know what I'm saying? And then burn it, destroy it, and write a new one. All right? Even though it may feel like, well, I can't really see myself here right now, just writing it out can make it more real. You know what I'm saying? And then you can read it each morning like, oh, okay, this is the new contract I signed on for. This is what I'm willing to invest my time, my energy, my focus, my soul into. I'm willing to power this up with my heart and soul, okay? It can be a good like reflection point. And I like it because it comes from your own self, your own soul's knowing. It's not like reciting some kind of like pablum, some new agey affirmations that somebody else told you should use. No, will be informed from your own soul's directives. So I really like this idea, something to work with. Ted does too, apparently. He gave his stamp of approval there by giving a little ding on his food bowl. Do you need to step out, honey? You need some breathing room? Yeah? One moment. Let me let Ted out. Okay, Teddy bear. Yeah, so get outside, that's a big part of what comes in Grace and Crisis as well. This week, get outside, get into nature, see if you can make a tree friend and actually spend some time with this tree during your 4-day resilience reset. Would be a good time to do that. And the first 3 days of this week, what we're really doing is we're giving ourselves just like a little breathing room where we're kind of figuring out, okay, how can I prepare for this 4-day resilience reset? So you can really sink in. So you got 3 days to sort of like free up your time, free up your schedule, do any grocery shopping you need to do to get nourishing foods in your home environment. And as far as what are you steering clear from during this 4-day reset, let's look at that, okay? Because that does have a lot to do with food and body image issues. For 4 days, you are going to go without the white stuff, okay? So sugar, all right? You can still have raw honey, all right? And you can still have maple syrup. and other sweet taste stuff. So you're not really doing without sweet taste, all right? You don't even have to do without desserts. It's just you're having more natural forms of sweet taste rather than refined sugar. The reason why we do that and we steer clear of refined sugar and we steer clear of dairy and white flour when we are moving through this kind of cleansing process is these are foods that tend to accumulate kapha in the body. And when you get kapha in the body, it leads to congestion, and congestion leads to ama accumulation. And we want to get the ama out. Ama is that which is undigested. And so it can really be a detriment to vata in just congesting the lungs and also creating a lot of blockage in the intestines. And we really want to clear this energy out so we can be very strong and stable through the flu season, so we don't get sick, so we have that vitality, we have that energy, so we have that breathing room in our lungs, okay? And when we're looking at clearing the old plaque out of the intestines, that's going to help our digestion, which is going to help our nourishment, all right? And it's very important for those who have struggled with any kind of eating disorder issues that you do this repair work with the intestines. It can help you feel so much better. It's a real important part of recovery. So there's definite crossover here. The other thing is when we're looking at the intestines, we're looking at emotions revolving around anxiety and fear, all right? So as we clear this out, we're also clearing out the fear and the anxiety, the holding patterns around that. So you can start to feel like, oh, I feel more rooted. I feel more grounded. That's what happens as we clear out the intestines, okay? And as we clear out the lungs, which we're going to be doing with steam inhalations, and you get that old grief to move, the lungs are associated with grief, then you can finally get to the other side of it and you can start to breathe in the calming, the restoration, room for you to just sort of be in your own experience without all these old energies like clogging up your creative channels, all right? So this is so beneficial, really beneficial work. And that's all you have to really steer clear of, that and processed foods, okay? Stick to whole foods, stick to foods that are close to the earth. You can eat as much as you need to eat. There's no limit on what you need to eat. You should eat whenever you're hungry. There's recipes that are included in the course material if you would like to explore them. They're wonderful. I included a khichdi recipe, which is pretty traditional, which is made with usually mung beans and rice. You can also do it with potatoes. I mean, there's all different ways that you can bring it together, but there's some recipes there and ways to alter the recipe and experiment with it. It's really nourishing, but you're looking at things like soups and stews and saucy casseroles and steamed veggies and brothy things and warm foods and warm aromatic sweet spices like cinnamon, you know, and bringing in like the chai and the chai spices and the ginger and all of these things. You will also have 4 days that you're going to be doing some cleansing, okay? And the cleansing is very gentle. But you'll begin first with doing drinking this like ghee, okay? And it's a graduated dose of ghee and it's all outlined in the course. I'm not going to go into those particulars on the live unless people have questions about them, because it's already like outlined in the course right there, how you do that, what that looks like. But you're going to drink ghee in the morning for 4 days, and then you're going to take this golden raisin sesame seed rasayana, a teaspoon, I believe it is, before each meal, every time you eat. And it takes a little time for it to do its magic, but what's going to happen is that ghee is going to go in, it gets everything nice and lubricated, and it's the most bioavailable fat. In other words, it really accurately mimics our own natural lipids in our body. So our body just goes and takes in all of that nourishment. It also has an effect on the digestive organs, that it helps them excrete their toxins, okay? And where there's old, dry, stuck plaque in the intestines, which, you know, if you got that action going on, if you run into any constipation issues, you got anything like that going on, you feel backed up down there, That's often related to Vata disturbance, Vata derangement, and it will help with that. Helps loosen everything up. So when you take in that golden raisin sesame rasayana, it just goes through and helps clear everything out. Okay. It clears everything out in a gentle way, though. Okay. This is not like you're not going to need to run to the bathroom. It's not like that. It's a very gentle cleanse, but you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe all that was in me. Right? And it goes on for days, and it's very effective, all right? It's very effective, and it's very gentle. And you're going to feel a million times better once it's done, okay? So got that coming in. So quite literally, you're going to be letting that shit go. Physically, okay, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You're going to clear out a whole bunch of stuff. Everything you need, everything that you're going to be doing is all outlined in both of the courses, okay? And the 4-day resilience reset, that's in the Roots with Wings course, all right? It'll tell you everything that you need to have on hand. And I really encourage you over these next 3 days, get this together, okay? Get this in order so that when you set your time aside for your 4-day resilience reset, you can just drop in with it. You don't need to go to the store. You don't need to run errands. You don't need to deal with anything that's going to like detract from this time that you're meant to really sink in and nurture yourself. And it's going to make a big difference for you, okay? Yeah, look at this. We got the 5 of Wands here. So there's this energy around you where maybe you've been dealing with a lot of frustration, agitation, irritation coming from other people. Maybe other people being very demanding on your time, on your energy. Maybe you're embroiled in something emotionally, some kind of argument, challenge, drama with other people. This is really starting to drain you. And maybe it feels like the situation's been kind of gridlocked, like you don't know how to move forward with this thing, how to get everybody on the same page. Like something that needs to be paid attention to here, though, is that until everybody, if you're dealing with any kind of frustrating group dynamic or family dynamic, or you're dealing with some issue with a social circle or at work, you know, where there's multiple people involved, or maybe you got a lot of demands pulling on your time and energy, you can't really get clear and figure out the way to move forward in a situation like that when you're embroiled in it, because everything just stays in this place of confusion and the energy is moving at odds. So there's no way to really like get on board, get on the same page, and actually move towards solution, right? So this is why it's so important to lay down the boundary lines. So where you are dealing with this energy and you need to create space for yourself, you know, don't feel guilty about this. You might even feel at odds with yourself about this, especially if you're somebody that's in a caregiver role or you're used to taking responsibility in these kind of situations, or maybe people expect you to, you know, it might be a lot for you to pull your energy back, but there's something really powerful about saying yes to yourself and saying yes to say no to other people, you know, that are unnecessarily pulling on your energy or taxing you at a time when you really need this time and energy for yourself. And even if you think that you don't need it, or like you're okay, or like things seem to be moving at a pretty even keel for you in your life right now, and maybe things just kind of feel uneventful, you still can benefit from creating this time and space for yourself. And you may not realize ways that there's been kind of like this undercurrent that's been operating within you. Maybe you've numbed it out, maybe you've repressed it, and maybe when you create this space, this time for you to just sink in with yourself and your own experience, maybe it'll start to bubble up so it can be cleared out in your system, okay? But this is about you really releasing the pressure valve, all right? And just having some time for yourself. Yes. And there's something here. It's related to the past, okay, with the 9 of Swords on the bottom of the deck energy here, in particular around this situation where there's some kind of argument, disruption, drama, upheaval, confusion about the best way to move forward, multiple people involved, you know, frustrating set of circumstances in this situation. That's what I see. This is something that has its roots in the past. It's related to a past pattern. It's related to a group of people from the past. There could be a Leo energy front and center, or this is something that could have really come forward during Leo season. I'm just noticing this lion that's kind of hovering over this woman here, okay? This also expresses the need to have courage in moving through this and confronting this. It's like one of those situations where it's like the only way out is through, but you can't find the way through until at first you get some clarity, right? So like pull back, all right? Get organized, get hunkered down, you know, do your checks and balances, do your systems check, organize your schedule. You'll be doing that this week by making a morning and an evening dinacharya. The dinacharya is just a very simple way of organizing your day so you make time for what's important for your nurturing, for your well-being, for your enjoyment, for your pleasure, and for your self-care, all right? And it factors it in to your day every bit as much as any other demands that you have. So we don't often do this, right? We don't make our health, our time to focus on just our soul reflection, time to focus on any healing we need to do, or even just creating space for us to relax, do something pleasurable. We often don't pencil these things in. The dinacharya is all about that. It's about making sure you're penciling this in too. Your mind, your body, your spirit need attention too, not just your work demands, not just your friendship demands, not just the demands of your family or your day-to-day chores, errands, responsibilities, or household obligations. This is your house too. And if this is not in working order, and if you're not feeling centered and, you know, dialed in on a personal level, then you're going to run into trouble, you know? So this is about understanding that this is a priority. So you're going to be making it very simple. It's not complicated, okay? And when you set up your dinacharya, and it's all organized in the courses for you about how to do this. So again, I'll put these links, resources in the comments after the live so you can easily access it. This is about you just really prioritizing, even if you just begin with 15 minutes of giving back to yourself, self-care, starting out your day with this practice and closing your day with this practice. That's it. If that's where you begin, that's good, okay? But you are going to hit 4 days when we do this resilience reset this week where you're going to go real deep with it, okay? And you're really going to give yourself a lot of care on those days. But practically, to move you forward, you're going to be like looking at like real life scenario beyond the 4 days, all right? Beyond your resilience reset. What does this look like moving forward? Because we can't always be in resilience reset mode. We have a lot of things we need to tend to. We already know with the cards that came in, with the Wheel of Fortune, with the world, you know, what was, you know, kind of taking up our time and energy and our focus is really getting wrapped up, and things are starting to move in a new direction, and we're going to be required to really show up and do the work. We know that. Pluto and Capricorn. We know that, you know, we're about to head into this time of year with, you know, the energy coming in on Saturday with that new moon in Libra, with the solar eclipse. All right. Now we're going to start to see that solar eclipse energy. It's starting to wrap up that cycle. We wrapped up the lunar eclipse cycle. Now we're going to be wrapping up the solar eclipse cycle, right? Which means that all the stuff is going to come to light. We're not done yet. Wait, there's more. You just had the precursor, okay? But what we learn is really going to move us forward. It also calls us into action. It builds the solar energy, all right? So we're not going to be like relaxing this year during winter season. We got to find some energy. Things are flip-flopped right now. It's almost like fall is the time of sort of like getting your bearings, getting clear, getting organized, and also following through with anything you've already set in motion, and also tying up loose ends. But we're going to be building the light, man, and we're going to be building the light early, and we need to do it because we're combating a lot of energy, a lot of build-up of the dark forces in the world. This is facts. This is scientific fact. The dark matter in the world is prevalent right now, you know, in the multiverse. It is prevalent. And so there's a need to consciously build the light. And can we consciously build the light? Why couldn't we? This is my theory. Why couldn't we? It's a bit quantum in thought, okay? But why can't we? We're all made of the same energy. It's all the same trip. So if we got kind of an excess of this dark matter, and that's why creative forces are kind of bound up, okay? it stands to reason that if we start turning on our creative energy, if we start working on this level, we can shift that, okay? We can start to form a new reality tunnel where we're building the light consciously, you know? And I've seen it happen. I've played with this and I've experimented with it. And I've seen the way it does change things. It does shift things. And there's no reason why it couldn't work. So why not do it, you know? Why not do it? All right. So this is like the only way out is through. So we can't sweep things under the rug anymore. We need to look at things as they are. So it's good to create breathing room as you also, you know, look at the challenges that you're facing and as you bump up against the difficult stuff, okay? So you're not ignoring it anymore. You're creating room for it and room where you feel supported, really like working through it, all right? Instead of pressurized or having a bunch of people coming at you telling you how you should be moving through it, how you should feel moving through it, or how long it should take or what it should look like. Your healing experience, your integration process is yours alone, and different people do need different things. Now, that being said, if you have been going through something difficult, challenging in your life, if you have been processing a lot of trauma, if you are going through any kind of grieving process or something that really, you know, it's wise to have some support as you're moving through this thing, I encourage you to reach out to, you know, whoever that support person is for you. For some of you, this may be a therapist. For some of you, this may be a support group, okay? And certainly if you are of the set that is dealing with food and body image issues, or you have a history of eating disorder, I hope that you have followed up on what we covered last week and that you are taking steps to get support for that, because it's very much necessary, and even more so if you are going through any kind of crisis, high stress period in your life, because you are more susceptible to go deeper into those behaviors and move further into isolation and shame. All right. So very, very essential that you have support. But anybody who's going through something that's emotionally challenging in your life, or if you're dealing with a real serious health challenge, okay, it could be something happening in your material world. Maybe you're going through a really difficult time financially. This is causing a lot of stress, or you're worried about your housing, like practical needs. There's something really distressing going on in your family, okay? This can play out many different ways. You should, even if you're one of those people, I'm one of those people, okay? A lot of people don't understand this about me. I'm a Libra. I'm a very strong Libra. I have 5 planets in Libra, 5 placements in Libra. They're all in the first house of Aries. Really intensely strong Libra energy, all right? I am a double Libra also. I'm Libra rising. So I got a lot of Libra energy I run. I always look at things. I look at all sides of things. I have an understanding about other people's positions, other people's perspectives. I'm always taking it into account. That's what Libras do, because we're trying to really be impartial, and we're trying to come to a decision in anything that we're facing that really encompasses the bigger picture, not just our place in the situation, but really what is good for the whole, okay? So if you're one of these people, I know for I myself, when I'm dealing with something, I've already grappled with it from every angle. I've looked at what this person could be feeling, how this person could be negatively impacted by any choice that I'm going to make. I've looked at everything. I've held space for it. I've even asked for other people's perspectives. Okay, this is something that people really need to learn. When somebody is going through something challenging, you don't just volunteer your advice. You don't override their experience. You don't insert yourself into their situation, certainly into a trauma situation. You ask that person if they want your support. You ask that person if they want to talk to you. You ask that person if they would like your insight. And then you respect the boundaries that that individual lays down. So if that person says, no, I'm good, thank you for checking up on me, but I'm fine, or no, I'm not needing that right now, or that's okay, I know what's right for me, that means you respect that. You don't keep pushing the boundary line. That's aggravating, and it creates more problems, and it actually can be isolating, because then it makes the person really feel like they really need to pull their energy back, or maybe they need to block, you know, and put down a real firm boundary line, right? This is not the way to go about things, right? You need to really feel out who are the people that are best to support you. For some of you, that's going to be somebody that is in a position of more professional support. You may need counseling. You may need a support group, okay? People who really understand where you're coming from. If you are going to rely on somebody that's a friend, do make sure that they've already agreed that they have the bandwidth to be your support person, okay? And that they have the ability to be impartial, and that they're a good listener, and that they will only give you insight, advice if you request it, okay? Not everybody knows how to hold space either, so this is something to be very mindful of, okay? But hopefully you've been figuring out who that support person is for you. You've taken steps to secure that. And so now would be a good time, you know, as you get this breathing room for yourself and you're sinking in with what you're feeling. Now would be a good time to drop in with your support person or persons who are available to hold space. If there's anything that you need to process, or if you would like their insight to come in, okay? But never make assumptions in any case. If you're dealing with somebody that is going through a rough time, and this is what's weighing heavily on you, and maybe you have a tendency toward codependency, like you move into caregiver mode even when it's not warranted or when it's not wanted. This is something to look at too, okay? So some people process things differently. The way one person processes grief or processes trauma or processes a crisis, it may be very different from you. That does not make it wrong, okay? It also doesn't mean necessarily that the person is moving into unhealthy behaviors or that they're moving into disassociation, all right? So this is something that needs to be mindful of anytime we're looking to get support or offer our support to another. Everything has to be done by agreement and free will, and boundaries need to be respected. It's so, so important in any healing process. And certainly in Panchakarma, it is pivotal, okay? Boundaries and respecting boundaries is the bedrock of Panchakarma, all right? So just going back to that initial example, I am a person that when I'm dealing with something heavy, I need a lot of alone time. I like space to myself. I'm very good at holding space for what I'm feeling. I work a yogic path. I know how to work with these methods of holding space. I don't feel like I don't have what I need. I actually feel more supported tapping into my spirituality and nature and getting really hunkered down like that. And yes, sometimes I do need to talk to somebody, but not everybody is for me to talk to, because some people, when I try to share what I'm feeling with them, they may be very like controlling. They try to control the narrative. They try to project on me what they think I'm feeling, what my experience is. They get too aggressive. They get too bossy. And then I feel crowded out of my own experience. Or they make the experience about them. Well, I'm feeling this about what you're feeling. And then now I'm divided from being able to really pour into myself and do what I need to do to get myself stabilized. Remember, we brought in this example before. If a plane's going down, man, they tell you, put on your oxygen mask first before you help anyone else. So sometimes, you know, and I've certainly dealt with it, you know, recently. I've been dealing with some pretty heavy stuff, man, in my own life. A lot's been going on, and a lot that people aren't even aware of because I can't share it. It's not appropriate for me to share it, you know, and I can't even go into that, you know, and that's what people don't understand. But I have my support sources in place. You know, I have my people that know how to hold support space for me, you know, and I do drop in with those people. And I did communicate with people. I communicated with my friends. I communicated with my family. But there's times when people think that they know where I'm at, and they don't really know where I'm at. And where I'm at is I need alone time. I need to sink into my own experience. I need to feel what I'm feeling. I need quiet. I need peace. I need to be in my own energy, because what's been difficult is everybody else inserting their energy in my space, right? So that's just an example of how this could be playing out for you, collective. You know, maybe you've been dealing with this. A bunch of people who think they know what you feel, what's going on with you, the circumstances in your life. These people may be the people that are causing the problem. They took something in your life that was humming along just fine. They brought a bunch of confusion, turmoil, arguments, upheaval, disruption into the mix. Then they tell you they're helping you, and they're actually making more of a mess of things. Don't feel guilty about taking care of these people's experience, okay? This is for them to sort out, and why they feel the need to overstep boundaries and insert themselves in situations that have nothing to do with them. And by them not respecting your peace, where you're saying, hey, I just need time to myself. I'm good. Thanks for checking in on me. I'm good. You want me to talk to you about this? I don't want to talk to you about this. And I don't really need to explain that or have the burden of explaining that to you to make you feel better about what I'm going through. It can be difficult to navigate, and people have a hard time with no, and people have a hard time when you don't want to take on their advice and when you don't want their opinions about your experience. But this is what you're being asked to do this week, and it's a very important part of Panchakarma. There's something that you're really going to learn as you drop into this deep space of just being in your own energy that's really going to open up the road for you moving forward. It's also going to make things a lot clearer where things have been convoluted, okay? And where there's been too many other people's energy or ideas or input or involvement, really clouding matters for you and making more drama, more messes, more upheaval, more conflict, find its way, on your doorstep. And meanwhile, you are responsible for laying down the boundary line. So if you're dealing with this, you have to exercise your boundary lines. You have to. And it's not fun. But yes, say yes to saying no. We're still working with that mantra, yes, Sometimes saying yes means saying yes to yourself and saying no to others by laying down a boundary line, saying, no, I got to go with what feels right to me. I know what I need. I know what I need to get in place for myself. I'm a grown-ass woman. I'm a grown-ass man. I seem to be doing just fine. You take care of you, boo. I take care of me. That's healthy. That's what it means to operate from a place of autonomy. Your autonomy is important too. Okay. Don't get so enmeshed with people. These can be really unhealthy dynamics, these push-pull dynamics. And where there's more of a pull or more of a push, then you really know that there's something you need to get space from. Because when we're looking at these kind of dynamics, these power dynamics, the only way they can heal is with space, distance, putting down boundary lines, in some cases blocking, in some cases just getting off social media, can be very helpful. And you don't know how helpful it can be until you actually lay down the boundary line, until you start practicing laying down boundary lines and actually enforcing them and not allowing them to become permeable or flexible or allowing somebody to be able to push up against it and then you cave. Until you really start standing in it, you don't understand the value of that medicine or how empowering it is or how much you've been sabotaging yourself by not doing it. It's a big lesson, okay? And I know I used to be somebody that really let people trample all over my boundary lines, all over them. I was such a yes woman. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. I bend over backwards, to please other people. I let them talk at me. I let them say horrible things to me. I let them go on tirades, telling me all the things I was doing wrong or why I wasn't good enough and who I am or, all this nonsense, okay? And I'd keep my mouth shut and I'd take it in. And meanwhile, in my alone time that I had, I'd sit there and go, man, these people just really don't get where I'm at or what I feel or any of it. And it wasn't until I started really allowing myself to step into my power and bring my voice forward, bring forward my feelings, share my perspective, live in my truth, okay, that I started getting a lot of pushback. And I had to start saying no. And I had to start blocking. And I had to start cutting things off. And people didn't like it. And the more I said, nope, that doesn't work for me, or no, thank you, or I'm okay, I'm going to pass on that, or I don't want to do that, doesn't sound interesting to me, the more angry people got, the more they pushed on my boundaries. And it's something you're going to have to face. It's part of getting through it. But eventually you'll get to a point where people are like, oh, they ain't messing around. They're serious. Like, will you lose some people? Yeah. That's okay. Those aren't supported people in your life. Okay? They're not. You know, there's ulterior motives operating there. It's not healthy. Will you maybe temporarily lose some people? Yeah, maybe. Maybe you have to take some space from people, and then down the road, once everything's kind of settled, maybe, you know, a door can be opened again, you know, for a new understanding, healing. Okay. But right now, you're really being asked to sink into your own energy and unplug from this. And we got some cards here. There, yeah, look at this. I'm telling you. Oh my God. This is the memo. Look at this. Look at this. Seven of Swords. Okay. This is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with this energy. And if you continue to interact with this energy, this is Seven of Swords, sabotaging energy. This is like, oh, I'm here to help you as I'm sticking a knife in your back. I'm here to help you as I'm throwing a wrench in the works. I'm here to help you as I'm, you know, whispering behind your back, going to this person, causing dissension, stirring up problems, slanting things to my advantage. This is what you've been dealing with. I'm here to help you. And really, it's a setup. You've been dealing with this energy. These people are a waste of your time. They're a waste of your energy. They're manipulators and they're users, and they're taking advantage of you. And this is stealing time, energy, focus, life force from where you really could be directing it in an empowering way. And you could be experiencing so much expansion, upliftment, fulfillment in your life, but you're being drained by this crap, right? This is also speaking to you about ways that you're investing your time, your energy, your focus, your involvement in people, places, and things that you know are a waste of your time. You're doing this out of some false sense of obligation. You're doing it because you don't want to upset people. You're doing it because you don't want to stir the pot. You don't want there to be any upheaval. You just want to keep everything nice and on an even keel, but at what cost? You're getting drained dry, man. You're ripping yourself off, and then you're unhappy and you're not fulfilled and you're struggling, and you wonder why. You wonder why you keep ending up in situations where you feel like you're being taken advantage of or you're being used in some way. It's because of you. You're leaving the door open for this behavior. You're not standing up for yourself. You're not drawing down your boundary lines. You're not saying no. And you won't see this until you actually lay down the boundary line. And this is what's really starting to come in with this energy with the new moon on the 14th in Libra. You're going to learn about this balance. And you're also coming to a place of karmic balance. And part of coming to karmic balance is understanding what is your karmic load? What is your work to do in this life? This is a big spiritual lesson right now. This is about you just really looking at your piece and what you need to do to live your life in a balanced way, where you're not dragging a bunch of old stuff behind you, where when you give to other people or when you do something for another person, you're giving from a place of fullness because you want to, because you feel like, yeah, there's resonance here, you know, filling you fills me too. Like, this is a beautiful reciprocal flow we got here. Not that you're giving and giving and giving so somebody will feel like you're worthy, so somebody feels like you have a place in their life, like there's validity in keeping you around because you serve a purpose, not because you're pouring into something because you don't want them to be angry with you if you don't do it, even though you don't want to do it. If you're doing that, you're giving out of resentment. Your offering it's like it's a dirty offering. You know, it takes away from you, it takes away from them, nobody benefits, and it keeps this like false exchange in play. You know what I'm saying? Where everybody's just putting on airs, everybody's just pretending everything's okay. It is the phony smiles and the social pleasantries, and then, you know, you're gritting your teeth behind the person's back. Like, this doesn't work. Okay. So you own a part in this too. It's up to you really looking at, where do I keep saying yes to things that I really don't want to say yes? I want to say no. Why am I doing that? Where's that come from? You know, for some of you, it comes from a very young place inside, you know. This has been in place for you since you were a child. Some of you, you don't even know where it comes from. You feel like, I was just born this way, you know. Maybe there is something that's working out in you ancestrally. You know, maybe if you look back at your ancestral bloodline, you'll notice these kind of patterns, these kind of dynamics. Maybe you see these kind of dynamics, these patterns in your friendship circles. You know, you all kind of reflect each other's wounds to one another. You're all trauma bonded with one another, okay? But what are you being asked to do about this? Oh, big Libra, South Node energy. Look at this. Bam. Queen of Swords it. That's what you're supposed to do. This may be coming in very strongly for Libras. I also feel like this is really playing out powerfully in this next lunar cycle with that new moon on the 14th, this Saturday, coming up in Libra that comes in with solar eclipse, okay? It's all getting kicked off now, right? It's all going to come to light now. We're not going to hide things anymore. We're not going to sweep them under the rug. Oh, no, we're looking at them. We're speaking truth about them. We're calling them out. We're being decisive. We're exercising our judgment, okay? We're not going to be in this murky place anymore where things feel, you know, fishy emotionally, where things feel ambiguous, where things are vague. No, we're not dealing with that anymore. No, well, okay, we need to be decisive then. We're going to draw some boundary lines. We're going to cut this off. We're going to get some space until things do become clear. Because obviously, if things are confused, if they're muddy, if they're unclear, if they're murky, there's no way to move forward in an empowered way, in a way that makes sense. So what's needed? Space, distance, clarity, cutting this off. Okay? Cutting this off. So do have a look at your schedule this week. This is very important. We know this is what's needed because what's at stake here? Empress energy. Libra energy. Boom, boom. This is coming up really strongly. If you have Libra placements, pay attention to your Libra placements right now. Where are they in your chart? What house are they in? What planets are they in? Okay. This is really significant. Also, look at your 7th house, Libra house. Look at what's going on in your South Node too. What's in your South Node? All right. All of this really activated right now. This is about cutting off what's keeping you from rising up into this Empress energy. We already know in the beginning, we had pre-Empress energy. We had the 9 of Pentacles coming in with the 9 of Cups. So it's about right now you're in this place. You're in that pre-Empress energy. This applies for masculine too. This is about bringing the creative energy forward. This is about feeling healthy, vital, in your element. This is about so much beauty building in the life. This is about overcoming the challenges of the past. This is about rising up out of the South Node, all the muck. This is that lotus part of the no mud, no lotus. Like we've been in the mud, man. Now we're rising up. Now we're coming into bloom. This is prosperity. This is blessing energy. This is looking good, feeling good, living good. All right. Valuing the self. This is rising up into the North Node. This is North Node activation. Okay. This is what's coming in for you, but you can block it. If you keep creating time, energy, space for these things that are just ripping you off, all right? Anything that is working against you needs to go. Anything that is continually bringing more grief, more stress, more heartache, more difficulty, more conflict, more drama into your life, it needs to go. Anything that you're not actively engaged in, that your heart is not like, yes, this is for me. This is a yes, it's a no. Cut it off, make some room, and you're really going to learn a lot about this week. You're being asked to Queen of Swords it, okay? You need to draw a line under this stuff and do it this week. Even if just for this week, for the 4 days, okay? After you have these next 3 days to get organized, figure out, you know, what you need to do, get your house stocked up, make your game plan for your 4-day resilience reset. Even if it's just for the 4 days you do this, draw some boundary lines. Say no to those people pulling on your energy. And just entertain the idea of what does it feel like to be untethered from all this? What does it feel like to create this space for myself, to pour into myself? It's going to reveal absolutely everything to you. And I think you're going to choose to move forward because who wouldn't want to rise up into that Empress energy, all right? This is also about nature will nurture you. When we look at the Empress energy, you know, we are looking at the beauty and the bounty and the expression of nature. All of nature coursing through you. Look at that. Okay. So there is this piece that came in with the Grace and Crisis course this week for week 2 that's about marrying some of that breath work practices, the pranayama that we brought in, which was the Durga pranayama in week 1. I also go over the Durga pranayama in the video I put out for the Panchakarma week, the healing session last night, which was all about attuning to whale totem medicine. Okay. You might want to drop in for that if you haven't. That can be a very valuable thing to work with at this time as we're moving through the second week material. But you might want to bring your breath work to a tree. Find a tree that can be an ally, a place where you can go and learn from tree medicine. Trees are such wise teachers for how to stay rooted and grounded through the changes of our lives, through the seasons of our lives. Look at the way a tree lets go of its leaves. It just very gracefully lets it go, and with beauty. There can be a beauty in the release too, and people forget that. We only look at the harshness or the painful side of letting something go. We forget that there can be a beauty, a grace in letting go. And there can be a sweetness in the emotional release that comes from that. And it can awaken a new level of peace in our lives. Sometimes you don't realize how much you've been suffering or how much you've been struggling because of your refusal to just relinquish control and let something go. And sometimes that's the very thing that's preventing healing in a situation. And especially if you're trying to heal a relationship or some kind of group dynamic or family dynamic, and you just keep butting heads, like sometimes you can't reach a healing, a resolution, a solution until everyone lets go. And then what really needs to happen comes forward. That's how it happens sometimes. Sometimes, you need to let spirit take the wheel and lead. Okay. So see if you can make contact with a tree this week, even if it's just a tree in your backyard. It doesn't have to be, some tree off in the woods. But I mean, if you have access to that, that's great. That's wonderful. But, it can be a tree at your local park. It can be a tree that's at a bus stop, It can be a tree that's, in your neighborhood, right? But just spend some time with the tree and take that Durga pranayama there. Do some breath work and learn to breathe with the tree and use your breath to kind of like bundle up everything you're feeling and maybe send it down, your root merged with the roots of the tree into the core of the earth to be transmuted, composted, returned to you as renewable energy. And just let that trunk of the tree support you, like rest your back on the tree and just feel the way you're held, the way earth can hold you. And there's really something that happens, this beautiful synergy that happens when we allow nature to support us in that way. It can also give us a real sense of belonging. Like people underestimate the support that nature can be. We always think about, oh, well, I need support from my therapist, or I need support from my friend, or I need support from my family member. People underestimate the support that nature can provide. So we really are encouraged this week to allow nature to offer some support too. And nature can teach us so much about our sense of belonging in this world and how to move through things with grace, right? There's so many lessons just by witnessing nature and being present with nature and grounded in and hunkered down with nature that we can learn about all the important stuff in life, all the important spiritual lessons about how to let go, how to bend with the winds of change, how to stay really rooted and strong, how to have a higher perspective, and still not lose our own footing. There's so much we can learn from nature, but you won't learn. You won't learn until you make time to drop in with nature. So I do encourage you when you're doing your 4-day reset to really make some time for nature. We brought in the tree piece and that comes in. And I also brought in the piece of even if just one day you go out and you make a meditation of watching the sunset, and you focus on that sun on the horizon and you bundle up everything that's troubling you and everything that's needing to be brought into the light and everything you're ready to release. And you can just send it off to the sun and watching the sun take all of that down. It can be a beautiful thing, this beautiful thing that puts you in the rhythm and the cycles of life, because we know, yeah, the sun goes down, but the sun's still there, the sun's still there. The light didn't go anywhere. And you may be in a period of darkness in your life, but that light's going to return. The sun will rise tomorrow. Okay. So that can be a very potent practice to work with, right? We also got some like just nice, like, luxuriating things to bring in. You're encouraged to up your pleasure, this week. Get yourself a really nice like body souffle or a really special oil so you can treat yourself to some abhyanga. Get some nice candles for your atmosphere just to create some light within the darkness and something that's just more of a like soothing ambiance, and maybe play some relaxing music or some hertz frequencies in the background of your home just to kind of just create a different vibe around you, that allows you to just sort of sink in, restore, and be mindful of what you're taking in, what you're watching. Maybe tune in for some ASMR or tune in for something that's consciousness expanding if you're going to listen to something or if you're going to watch something. Do less social media, or maybe just take a break entirely for those 4 days from social media. What does that feel like? To not be chained to your phone, to not have your notifications ruling your life. What does that feel like? What does it feel like to turn off the ringer on your phone and just preserve this time for you? So just really unplugging and making more room for pleasure, and maybe also sinking into the pleasure of meal time as well. Like when you do sit down for a meal this week, have it at the table. Let it really be a time to nurture yourself. Just sink into the experience of really noticing the aroma of your food and the flavors and all the textures, and just really appreciating this time to drop in and be present with your meal, and understanding that this also can be like a meditation. Mealtime can be a meditation. Mealtime can be something that actually restores your nervous system. It gives you a feeling of self-care, this space to relax, drop in, and just sort of like fill yourself up. Most of the time, as Americans, especially in Western culture, we just like we eat on the run. People eat in their cars. You're biting into your bagel as you're running out the door to get off to work. You eat fast food or convenient foods. Even cooking can be a meditation, right? Working with some of these recipes and just taking that time. It's a whole pleasurable experience. It's a whole sensory experience. It's a sadhana. That's what a sadhana is. It's a day-to-day chore, a day-to-day activity that normally you just kind of like take for granted, and instead you use it as a pinpoint of spiritual focus. You use it as a meditation. So when you're cooking, you're not just cooking, you're stirring the love into the food, you're stirring healing into the food, you're bringing nurturing into the food, and every ingredient that you're adding, you're thinking about the quality of that ingredient and what it's adding to what you're cooking. And it's just this real mindfulness. And let me tell you, when you have a meal that's cooked like that as a sadhana, it's different. It hits different. It feels different. Energetically, it feels different. When you have a meal where you're not doing it in front of the TV, okay, so this week, really focus on this intuitive aspect of eating, this mindful aspect of eating. When you do your 4-day reset, at least for those 4 days, man, just bring it in, allow yourself to experience it. What does it feel like when I have my meals and I'm eating this quality food? I'm getting away from these kind of more addicting foods. I'm getting away from the chemicals. I'm learning to appreciate sweet taste in a new way. And I'm eating whatever I want, when I'm hungry, within those parameters, okay? I'm eating this wet, warm, nurturing, building food, and I'm doing it without distractions. I'm doing it without watching TV. I'm not in front of my computer. I don't have a book open or the daily paper. I'm just sitting with my food. I might have some nice, music playing in the background for ambiance. I might have a nice candle lit on the table. I set a real pleasing place on the table. Maybe you got some flowers on your table. You got a beautiful place setting. You brought out your best china to serve yourself on. Even if you're cooking for yourself, let me tell you, this all makes a difference. Just let yourself have this for 4 days, because if you were receiving Panchakarma, you would be receiving this. If you were working with a Panchakarma team, they would be doing this for you. You would have beautiful flowers surrounding you. You would have the best flatware. You would have the best place settings. It would be a beautiful experience. and you would sit surrounded by beauty without distraction, and you'd be eating this wonderful, beautiful food that was cooked with love and nurturing and attention. And you would be just enjoying that moment of just receiving the nurturing. So give yourself that this week, okay? It's going to connect you in a whole new way, all right? And do continue to work with that HALT method. You know, when you think about food, don't automatically assume you're hungry. Get in touch with your body. Are you really hungry? HALT, you know, put a hand on your heart, put a hand on your belly, close your eyes for just a moment and ask yourself, am I hungry? You know, and if you're not, then go down the list. Okay, am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Or any other associations you make with those letters. We went over this in our last live, okay? And then address the matter accordingly, all right? Now, if you realize you're angry or you're lonely or you have some other emotion that you're actually not hungry, there's a new step. We built on this, and that's what these courses are like. We build on them week after week after week after week. So soon you have a whole practice, okay? But we introduce these things one step at a time. So now you can expand on the HALT method, and you can pair it with this technique that's called inspiring emotional release with your breath. And it absolutely pairs with the Durga Pranayama. But now you can use the breath to start to create space, breathing room around what you're feeling. And just with your breath alone, you can have emotional release where you've been tied up in knots. And we go over that in the course and how to work with that, okay? So again, if you do not have the Roots with Wings course or the Grace in Crisis course, and you want to follow along and you want to move through this process with us as a community, go to cobrasmedicinebag.com. Both courses are listed on the homepage with buttons that say instant access here, free access. That's it. Click, you're in. That's it. Okay? And you can follow along. It's my gift to all of you. All right? So this is very important this week. Okay? Making time for these practices and to get this all in place. And we know that it's helping us move into this energy. Okay? It's clearing the way of everything that's getting in the way of us really bringing our creative force forward in the world, feeling vital, feeling in our element, able to move into that flow of abundance in our lives, okay? And beauty, self-worth, okay? Self-value, and really investing in what is going to create growth in your life. Because ultimately, anytime that we are facing any challenge in our life, the end result and goal is that we grow, right? That's what we want. That's what we want at the end of the day. We want to keep growing. We want to keep evolving. So now's the time to prune, okay? And cut off where there's not growth. And also to clear away the old gunk with this 4-day resilience reset that you're going to do with food and some different practices, some rasa yanas, and you're going to feel so much better. Okay, so much better, so much clearer after you move through this material. So let me see if there's any final thing that wants to come in from the tarot here, and then I think we'll kind of like prepare to get this wrapped up. I'm going to do one final round here. Anything else? If there's nothing else, I'll do a cut of the deck energy, and then I'll see if anybody has any questions before we kind of like close this out today. Okay, I mean, it seems pretty complete to me. Very much in harmony with the energy we're working with this week. Another thing we're bringing in this week is the steam inhalations, okay? So you'll want to do these each day that you're doing the resilience reset. So first 3 days, you're getting prepared, you're getting organized, getting all your ducks in a row for doing your 4-day reset. And then during the 4 days, you're going to do this steam inhalations. It's real simple. You just get, you boil up some hot water on your stove. You can add some different herbs in there, like rosemary is very nice. Lemon balm is nice. You could do lobelia. You could do rose petals. Okay, make sure, before you veer off from those suggestions that you do research, okay, that it's safe to ingest certain things. For example, don't go and put like silver sage in there. Like there's certain things that you do not want to take in internally. You also want to be aware of any medical conditions you have and any contraindications in that regard, okay? Anytime you're working with herbs, it's really important, okay? It's still medicine, okay? It's still strong medicine. So you want to make sure that anything you're working with is in harmony, but Things like rosemary is pretty benign. Same with lemon balm, pretty benign. Okay, rose petals. These are all very safe recommendations for things you can work with. Lobelia in most cases, in some cases, you might want to look into that a little bit, all right? But then you add in any herbs you want to. You don't have to. You could do just plain water is fine too, all right? And then you just put down your bowl of water, like a big mixing bowl works pretty well. You probably did this when you were a kid, when you were sick. Eucalyptus is nice. Eucalyptus is really good for clearing the air. If you feel like there's a lot of communications that have been strained or difficult, and if that's what you got some congested energy around, or maybe you're having trouble communicating, okay? This can really clear out the throat too. When we're looking at clearing out the ama in relation to vata, we're looking at lungs and all the upper respiratory channels, okay? So if you find that you tend to have like a lot of blockage in your throat chakra, or if you have a lot of sinus issues, a lot kind of in these upper channels that feel sort of like, you know, congested, it helps really clear a lot of this out. And all you have to do is just get a towel, okay? Drape it over your head, over that bowl, and just having, you know, a nice distance between you and that hot water that feels comfortable to you, and you just breathe deeply. Now you could even take these steam inhalations and you could pair it with the Durga Pranayama, and you could pair it with the HALT method and inspire emotional release technique pranayama. And wow, that could be a real potent practice, because then right then and there, you're holding this space, and you also got the herbs, all these plant allies are holding this space too. And then you also got this like wet, you know, warm, nurturing air coming in, loosening all the stuck stuff, loosening all the ama, that which is undigested, so it can be expelled and released. And if you do with that, you know, kind of intention and focus, and really merge all those practices together, wow, you'll move a lot. You'll probably get a lot of ama to move, and you'll probably have a lot of emotional release too. And it's really potent, and it's very powerful. Okay, so I highly recommend that. Let's do the cut of the deck energy here. Let's see what comes through. I think you're clearing a lot out, but it looks good. Okay, it looks good. What's up ahead for us looks really good. We clear out this old energy and we move into Empress energy. I mean, come on. What? You couldn't want anything better, okay? Cut of the deck energy, we have the Hierophant, okay? Look at this. So here we are as a community, right? We're all coming together, and I love how the tree piece came in. It's central, right? This is about the roots with wings, all right? Like mimicking that tree energy, like do gather together around you, you know, your community. You have a community here. We're all focused on this. We're moving, you know, through PANCHAKARMA together. We're doing this growth work. This is a good place to tap in. You know, maybe it's time to like drop in on the comments too, or drop a comment on a live, like bring your voice in, you know, join in the conversation. Maybe it's time to meet people here. You know, did you think about that? You could build community here on YouTube, you know, with other people that are focused on growth too, you know, and you can start having a new kind of support, right? So tap into resources of support that maybe you haven't really recognized them, or you haven't really been utilizing them up to this point. I do feel this is really speaking of the strength of community building, you know, around these concepts, other people that are also focused on growth. So this is about you really be mindful of this week, and let yourself be guided on a soul level. Like who does feel like your soul family, you know? Who are the people around you in your life that are also focused on growth, that are focused on healing? You know, more of that, you know? Drop in for some nourishing connections, and pull your energy back from what's been siphoning your energy. Notice how this shifts for you. Now you move into more like creative partnership with life. Now there's something to really grow here, right? There's a new kind of momentum that takes over in your life, right? So this is very much about also just really feeling that connection, that support, and feeling that you have the strength and the stability to move into this expansion as well, because you're working your roots, you know, you're working all those foundational issues. You're also tending to your roots. You're getting rooted. You're getting like hunkered down. You're tending to vata. You're getting vata stabilized. You're getting your nervous system stabilized. And also this helps for those of you that are highly sensitive, those of you who are psychics, those of you who are working a metaphysical path. It allows you to continue, right, to move into your spiritual growth, to the expansion of your psychic gifts, opening up to the clairs that are wanting to come in for you, but being rooted, like not having it overtake your nervous system, okay? So anywhere where you're doing spiritual work, this is only going to enhance that spiritual work and really help you root it in material reality. And look at this. Hello, judgment. And I love that the tree energy is there again, okay? And look at that, resting easy, space for yourself, you know, kind of above it all, but still rooted in, okay? I love the imagery of that. I love how both of it comes out as this tree imagery. It's really kind of cool. And when we're looking at judgment, this is the other Libra card. So we had strong Libra energy coming out. This is the work of Libra season. All right. It's also the work of the Libra South Node. We're really bringing things into balance here. Not to mention the fact we got the new moon cycle kicking off in Libra this Saturday. So again, we're finding that balance, and it's all about us leveling up, you know, moving into that North Node position. And that's what's supposed to happen, right? The Empress is supposed to rise up into that North Node and meet the Emperor there, right? So this is about coming into alignment with yourself, also with masculine, feminine principles, understanding when it is time to be active. Hey, good to see you. Bringing you in. Yeah, you know, this is when it's time to really understand when it is time to be mindful, right? Of being active, doing the work, and to balance this out. There's times to be at rest too. There's times to pull your energy back and create space for yourself. So this is the work. And we see here also, we have this, I miss you too. I know this week, the lives kind of got like, the schedule is a little switched around. There's reason for that. First of all, I've been, you know, seeing clients and dealing with all that, you know, so that is kind of like, that has to take a priority. I have to make sure that I'm, you know, tending to my business end of things. I also have a live coming up on Saturday for New Moon, where we're going to have some fun, and we're bringing in Goddess Freya, the broadcast. So that took over the Saturday live that I normally do. So I did a live last night. It's a healing session. It's for an attunement to whale medicine. It's really good. It's for accessing Akashic records. And so that was our first live for this week. And then this is the second live where I'm going over the course material for the Panchakarma. So a little backwards this week because things got kind of rerouted. And then Friday's my birthday. So I'm not working on Friday. I'm gonna take care of me on Fridays. So everything's kind of like a little moved around this week, but I'm glad you found your way here and that you're here for the live. I appreciate anytime anybody comes in, even if it's on the replay, you know, but it's always nice to say hi to people in live time. And what we got here, look at this. We got Page of Cups here. Okay, so this is like an invitation. It's like Spirit's issuing you this invitation and saying, hey, just come into this play space, right? Just come into this play space for your 4-day resilience reset, okay? Let the creative self take over. Give yourself some time to just sort of like take things easy, you know? Be playful, enter your more imaginative mind. You know, this is the other side of Vata energy. Very creative, very imaginative. Just enter this more carefree, pleasurable sort of mindset and let yourself indulge in some things that are just more relaxing, more playful, more pleasurable, okay? And create this space, this play space for yourself in this time to just rest and restore and, you know, connect in with people like, you know, that do offer support, you know, that are also focused on this health, this healing, this growth. And you'll really see, you know, things turn around for you. So I've liked this energy. It's very beautiful. Yeah, I am glad. I'm glad it's been busy. You know, I'm glad too. There's a lot of growth, and that's why it's hard for me to kind of like, I'm using this time for my resilience reset. I mean, I'm like anybody else. I'm being called to the mat. I am in a little bit of like Vata, you know, I need my Vata stabilized for sure. I mean, I've been through a high stress period for a long time, actually. It's been going on for a few years for me. It's been pretty intense, but especially I would say the past couple months, and I think a lot of people have been feeling this. It's just been like ramped up like to the nth degree, all right? And there's a lot of really wild, intense stuff that I've been navigating. I'm good. I'm really good through it, though. It's like, I need people to understand that. Like, I have, you know, some friends that just don't understand that. I'm like, no, seriously, like, I'm good. I feel good. I feel very strong. I feel very empowered. The thing that I'm needing at this time is I need rest. I need rest. I need to be able to unplug. I need pleasure. I need laughter. I need fun. I need levity. I'm tired of dealing with other people's drama and stuff. You know, that's really what it's about for me. People don't understand. I'm good. I'm in a really good place. It's this other stuff that keeps inserting itself into my space and my storyline that is stressful for me. So, but I'm loving my work. And I'm very passionate about my work. Yes, vitality. I'm passionate about my work. I find it a pleasure. So I love what I do. You know, I absolutely love what I do. I always have people telling me to take a break from work. I'm like, why? It's the one thing in my life that's really fulfilling me right now. Why would I take a break from it? But yeah, you know, I think this piece is like super important right now. Is like, I need to get kind of a schedule in place. I would love to be like really on top of my lives. Like, I show up at this time, you know, but I do have a little bit of like, I'm kind of a free spirit. I'm not a person that likes like super like, you know, structured. Like, I'm just not, that's not me. It's not me. I like more of a kind of like free flow, kind of creative kind of life. That's my Vata in me. But the Pitta in me is kind of like, get it together, broad. So I'm going to be working on that with the 4-day resilience reset. And I'm going to call myself to the mat with all of you. I got work to do myself. It came up in the revolutionary report that I did too for what Pluto in Capricorn is demanding of us. So I know that I need to get more on a set schedule, and I will get that dialed in. But right now, yeah, I do have to look at, you know, where are my clients able to fit in, and they have to take a priority because that's a very foundational need in my life. And certainly when you're building a business, you know, but thank you for being flexible. And I'm really glad that you showed up here, and it's really good to see you. And I hope to see you more. I hope you pop over here more, because I'm never coming back to Facebook ever again, or Instagram, or any of that crap. This is it for me. And I want people like set up a freaking YouTube, man. You got a YouTube account, obviously. You're on here. So, you know, your YouTube channel, if you go into your advanced features, they made it so you can activate your community board. You activate your community board, it works just like a Facebook timeline. And instead of getting friends, you get subscribers. So my friends that are on here, like, I've been subscribing to their channels, those that have stuff up, you know, but not everybody's putting stuff up, you know. It can operate the same exact way. But what's cooler is that you could also put out vlogs, and you can do lives, and you can like say hi to people in real time and connect with them like we are here, you know, where you feel like more like you're having a real time conversation. You can also let your creative voice come forward, or whatever you want to bring forward. So I think it's really neat, actually. I wish more people would get turned on to it, especially because there's just, I'm sorry, there's a lot of really like, people don't know the half of why I had to like really let go of Facebook. It's really not good. It's pretty like sinister shit, man. And it's not, I'm not talking about social stuff. I'm talking about the actual platform. I got off of there for reasons of safety, quite literally. And people don't get that. And I couldn't really go into it or explain it, because to do so would only put me in more of a pickle, a difficulty. But I learned about the real deal there. And yeah, it was time for me to get rid of it. Thank you. I come here predominantly for you. Having time to create content is the only reason I haven't started my own page or channel. Well, you're here, so you got a channel. You already got a channel. Now you can set up separate channels like I have, like, because I have a Shannon Elsom, you know, too. I don't do anything on it, right? All of my channels spiral off from that, because you can add channels, right? But even if you just did a little vlog, you've done vlogs before. I've seen them. I've seen you do that when we were connected on Facebook. You like put up like when you went to see Sisters of Mercy. You can put that up on your freaking YouTube channel. I'd love to see that. I do have some people that I'm friended up with here that are from Facebook, and they do have a few videos up, and I love to like see their stuff and what they put forward. You know, I interact with it, you know. So anyway, I feel like it's the wave of the future. Honestly, I think we should like take over the airwaves. That's my opinion. I think we should all like, I think all the merrymakers, the dreamers, the revolutionaries, the creative types, like the people who are really aligned with growth and evolution and moving things forward in an empowering way, like everybody just needs to be on here, like bringing their voice forward and contributing. And it's such an important piece for changing things. Like I wish people really realize what a platform this is and the opportunity it offers. And it's all offered for free. You know what I'm saying? And down the road, like you can get to a place where, you know, you can even benefit from it financially if you get really lit up. But I mean, that doesn't happen without a lot of hard work. You've seen how hard I've been working to just get myself some traction here. Okay. So you do have to work really hard for that, but you never know. And sometimes there's just things that happen on a fluke, right? Something goes viral overnight and boom, you're there. So anything can happen. Okay. Anything can happen, but I think it can be a really good thing. Yeah, there's some malicious, evil, sinister stuff on social media. The energy reminds me of when I was in the throes of my drug addiction and the junkie. It reminds me of that level. Yeah. Yeah. It's like even beyond that, though. It's like, it's way beyond that. It's way beyond that. It's a form of warfare, actually. It's really, it's bad. It's bad. You know, me, I brought in a topic that is related to, you know, something that I can't even speak on because there's so much blockage around it and so much suppression around it, but it had to do with Indigenous women and children. And I brought that in. And as soon as I brought that in, I didn't know what was going on at first. But the minute I brought that in, I started just getting, it's not an exaggeration. When all was said and done, I had like over 30,000 notifications, constant harassment, video calls, death threats, pornography with the faces blacked out. Really bad harassment, nonstop, 24 hours a day, 9 days in a row. And it didn't stop until I freaking called it out on my page. And then it was like crickets. It all of a sudden stopped. And then it was interesting because then Facebook reached out to me and they'd received hundreds of my complaints because I reported this. I was like, I'm being attacked here. Like, what is going on? I can't even function on Facebook. I had clients that despite how many times I told them, if you want to book with me, you have to email me. These clients would always DM me to request an appointment. I had like 6 clients that were trying to get in. 6 clients were wanting to get in and I couldn't even get to them because they were buried under this. I couldn't even open up my messenger. And there were times when I couldn't even type a comment because I was getting this stuff was like overtaking my ability to even function on my phone. It was out of control. I did hundreds of reports. I got back one response from Facebook in regard to that. And what they said, I screenshot it. I got everything I got everything. I got all the proof of what happened. I got one response from them and they said, their words, we know that this is going to be highly upsetting for you, but what has been reported does not go against our community standards. And then I was like, now I'm going to start calling out Facebook because this is some BS. Because I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Then there's got to be some kind of connecting point here, Facebook. If you don't think this goes against community standards, then you're in on this on some level. Like, this is not right. And then I started uncovering some stuff
in regard to them. And when I did that, it's funny, they took all these screenshots that I put up. I got up one morning, and this is after the calls had stopped. Crickets. It went from a constant barrage of harassment to crickets, okay? So then I knew, I'm like, ooh, I got him. I got him. After this happened, the next morning, after I put up some screenshots, okay, I woke up to a notification from Facebook, and they're like, hey, we saw these screenshots you put up, and we really like the content you're creating. Look what we did. We put them together in a reel for you. And we even put this nice patriotic song to go with it. Would you like to use our reel? We really support you in this. And it's like, no, I don't want to use your reel. Oh, nice spin on it. Okay. No. There's a lot going on there that ain't right. And I had to drop that account because it became very clear that not only was I not going to be able to do my business there, I was not going to be able to it was not safe for me to be there, quite literally. And aside from that, I was like, all right, well, since I already got to trash this, I'm going to go ahead and call out a bunch of stuff that's been going on the social level that ain't right. And then I'm out. That's what I did. And it felt good. It felt good to be free of it, honestly. Yeah, well, it's a total programmed experience there. And it's actually really not good. It's really not good. Yeah. Yes. 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 This is what it was. I brought in a topic because somebody suggested it. Somebody said, how come nobody's ever talking about this? Because remember, I was talking about a bunch of heated societal issues, right? We talked about racism. We talked about feminism. We talked about, sexism. We talked about the relationship between men and women. We talked about the patriarchy. We were talking about everything. We were talking about foreign relations. We were talking about politics. We were talking about all the stuff nobody ever wants to talk about, and the controversial side of it, right? And people were getting really engaged, and it was like overnight, all of a sudden I had 10,000 followers. I was like, whoa, what's going on? And then I had people from different countries who were like, well, how are you going to help us do this in our country? I'm like, you're going to do it yourself. I covered exactly. I covered everything on Warp Speed. I'm like, next? What's next? What's next? It's not as complicated as people make it out to be, right? And I'm moving forward with that. That's my vision for Broadcoven. I'm moving forward with this. I'm going to set up memberships. I'm in process with this, all of this right now. What I put in motion there, it ain't going nowhere. I'm doing it here now, okay? This is the wave of the future. This is the work of the future. This is the way forward, man. I got an economic plan. I got everything, man. And I've been revealing it to some people that, I got a small group of people I've been working with who kind of like came forward with me from Facebook, and they're like, hey, I want to help. I want to continue to do this. Like, I want to continue forward with this. And so I'm like bringing them in the loop, and I'll continue to add people, but I'm going to be bringing all this in and showing people like, no, this is how it works in real time. And I'm using Broadcoven as an example. My whole model economically is everybody eats. There is no competition, it's collaboration. Collaboration is the way forward. Everybody eats, everybody wins. That's my whole MO for the way to move forward in the future and move into the dawning of the age of Aquarius. It's about really looking at things in a certain way, establishing a whole new structure, understanding that voting is not where the empowerment is. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not. It's economically is where the PowerPoint is. And that's how we affect change in the world. We got to look at a new kind of economy. We got to look at restructuring things that way. What does that look like on a business level? Well, naturally, we can't just have this battle cry where it's like, oh, screw capitalism, death to capitalism. Okay, that's great. And what are you going to do about it? And first of all, you can't go completely the other way initially. You have to start introducing new ways of working within the framework of capitalism. Okay? So I'm going to start rolling out some of that stuff. But you're right. It's exactly what it was. I brought in that issue about the indigenous women and children, which I'm not going to speak to it directly, okay? I brought in this issue because it was suggested. Somebody said, why aren't we talking about that? I'm like, well, you're right. We need to talk about that too. And what it was is I stepped in some shit. I stepped in some shit. And I got to see how intense the blockage is around it, which let me know just how ingrained it is and how many people in positions of power are totally connected to it. And also the way that social media is playing a part in that. You know, it's like, it is grimy. It is grimy energy is the perfect way to describe it. It's bad. It's evil. It is evil. And I felt like such a weird moment, right? Like where the matrix warped and I was like, whoa! Like at first I was like, what's going on? What is going on? And if it weren't for, yeah, see, like even this that you're bringing in here, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to see if I can take that off. Oh man, I don't want to do that. Maybe you should delete that comment. I don't have a way to do that, but you might want to delete that comment because see, even something like that, and I can't even click it, okay? Because even something like that can bring blockage, all right? It can bring blockage. Yep, 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 but it put me in danger. And that's what some of my friends didn't understand this. I had a lot of people that like, unless you were somebody like you, Angela, who was like totally tapped into me on Facebook where you regularly like kept in touch with me, which I had a lot of people who were, and they got what was going on. But I had a lot of my friends that like just hardly ever on or only drop in. Then they would head into my Facebook timeline and they'd be like, whoa, I had one person say, it's like Inception in here. Like, what's going on? Or where did this go? Or where are you talking about? I'm like, you got to go down the rabbit hole, man. I don't know what to tell you because we've been like we've been going at this like nonstop. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Scroll back and then follow your way back up. You're going to have to go all the way down to the bottom of the rabbit hole and you're going to like have to follow it back up to know what's going on because I can't play catch up with you right now. And when all that was happening, you know, I had so many friends that were just like, well, I don't understand or I don't get, I'm like, I don't have time to freaking explain it to you. You know? Interesting. My channel started to get static when I mentioned me. Yeah. Did you delete it? You should delete that comment. If you have the ability to delete it on your end, I wish you would, because if you don't, it could potentially affect this live. Just saying. I don't have a way to delete it on my end. I have the ability to ban you, and I don't want to ban you. This is just the format for StreamYard. So I don't have an option to take it off. So if you have an option to take it off, you should. Yeah. All you have to do is just hide it. You know, that's it. Just hide it, retract it. I do it all the time on lives, okay? If I feel like I want to bring something in, but I'm like, but I don't want that to stay up there. I just want to join the conversation, then I want to take that down. You know, so you can remove it. Please remove it because it could cause a problem. Yeah, that's what it was about. I brought that in and yeah, holy hell. Holy freaking hell. Holy hell. And I did what I did. I did what I needed to do. I did go and see an attorney and I did give all the information and I did turn things over to somebody that's in a really high position of power. If anybody can do anything with it, they can. And there was also a friend of mine who's a cop who was there the whole time, you know, and actually was interacting on my posts. And he told me, he's like, damn, you should be a detective. What did he say? He said, you're really good at shaking a tree and getting all the turds to fall out. He's like, you knew how to shake that just right. And he said, you got like an airtight case here, man. It's like you got so much evidence, you know. It might still be remaining on my end, but at least it's not on YouTube. So it's okay. Good. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know that. I mean, I'm all for you, you know, putting it forward. I agree that it needs to be brought forward. I couldn't say it, so in a way, I appreciate that you brought it up in the comments, just so that those who are here could see what the deal was, right? But yeah, I'm glad you took it off on that end, because I don't want this to get, like, you know, blocked out. And YouTube's been really cool. Okay, YouTube's been really cool with me, but still, it's just one of those things that I was doing a live the other night, and I can't remember what I was talking about. I watched the replay of it, and it didn't come up on the replay. It just had me fall off. But in the middle of my live, I got an emergency notification. Came through on my phone with what I was talking about, and it totally, like, covered the screen. It was really wild, and I was like, oh shit, okay. I'm getting and I was talking to you all on the live, and I was like, whoa, I'm getting an emergency notification right now coming up on my phone. It's like one of those national emergency notifications. It didn't say what it was about. It said it was a test. And then what was weird is when I went back and watched the live, that section of the video, like, was not there at all. In fact, it had me drop off, and I was like, okay, interesting, you know, interesting. It's interesting times with online stuff. That's also something that happens with Pluto being in Capricorn, is there can be like an uptick in like surveillance type stuff. There can be an uptick in like kind of like police state type stuff, like Big Brother kind of stuff. So that's also like what we're dealing with this cycle. We got Pluto direct Capricorn, and that's going to be continuing on through this year. So do look at this kind of stuff is going to be coming up a lot, and it's going to be coming up a lot also on social media. You know, it's going to be coming up in these sectors, you know, where we're doing stuff on the World Wide Web. Also just with, you know, anything related to security. So that stuff is going to be very front and center. And it's also about, you know, kind of like having the veil pulled back, like seeing the reality of what we're really dealing with, seeing the reality of the situation. Hello, Amy Lane. Good to see you. Just bringing you in, bringing everybody in who's been coming in. So yeah, this is stuff that's going to be in our face, you know, through the remainder of the year. And then we have Pluto will be going direct into Aquarius. And that's when we have the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And it's in its first, like, it's infancy. Okay. You know, and that'll be coming in, I think near the end of June of this next year, 2024. And that momentum will continue to build. Okay. It'll continue to build and will be with us for the long haul. And it's all about us really like entering that revolutionary time of moving forward. And when I say revolution, the reason why I have it hashtagged with a lowercase r is I want to focus on more the evolution aspect, because I think just with the media and like the programming, you know, people have a certain idea in their head of what revolution means. And it's sort of like, and isn't that just the way? You know, of course, the algorithm would be programmed that way. Let's make revolution look like a really bad thing, you know? So that's why I've kind of used the upper cases, lower cases in my hashtags in specific ways, because I'm trying to like convey a different kind of thought around it. It's like, no, let's focus more on what it really means. What it really means is to grow, to evolve, to realize where things don't work, to realize where there is inequities, to realize where something will not carry us forward, and we do need to radically shift from it. But we don't do that in ways that continue to work within what's broken. And what's broken right now? Well, too much control, too many people throwing around their power in ways that are damaging, in ways that are repressive, in ways that are violent. That has nothing to do with what it means to step into true revolutionary energy. Nothing would be more revolutionary right now, I think we can all agree this, than love, right? We're currently working within this framework of everything that is unlike love. It's all fear-based. It's all about control. It's all about certain people holding the power, right? Yeah, that's my Discordianism coming out. That's why I use the hashtags in that way. I did a post about my hashtags earlier, but it's now very much like it was on Facebook on my community timeline. It's like down the rabbit hole. So I think I'll copy and paste and put that back up. Once I have my memberships up, it'll be different because the people that are really into doing this and moving forward, that really want to be part of like growing a movement in this direction, they'll sign up for my memberships, and then they'll, you know, have access to all that easily. Because I'm going to have a lot of my memberships are going to operate like that. It's all about this new way of moving forward. And I'm going to have some cool spiritual stuff too, you know, and some exclusive stuff. But I'm not going to be one of these people that uses memberships for extended readings. No. You're a subscriber on my channel. I'm here to give you readings. I'm here to give you information. I'm here to give you the full enchilada. Like, I'm not going to hold anything back from you. I know that's always frustrated me, like when I'm on a channel and I'm really getting into the reading and I feel like, oh, it's just getting to the part where, you know, yeah, now we're cooking, you know, and then they're like, for the extended. And I'm like, well, that's nice. I wish I could do that, but I can't really do that right now. So, you know, that's here for all of you. And I'm going to be starting, you know, a new channel's coming in. I think I might announce it with New Moon. We'll see. Depends on how much work I get done. But yeah, I'm going to be announcing a new channel that's going to be coming in, and I'm starting to put work into my other channels too. We're just going to do all the channels. We're going to do all the things. We're going to get organized. So yeah, that's why I'm not there. And I have had some people that have reached out to me and they contacted me and they've said, you know, hey, Shannon, you know, when are you coming back to Facebook? I'm like, never, never, never. I had to let go of Instagram, also a Meta company. I had to let go of my mail delivery service. I was going through MailChimp, also tied to Meta. Yep. So now we know what the metaverse is all about. You know, I'm like, oh my God. And then I, you know, found some people that I know that I didn't know that know the behind the scenes stuff of, you know, Facebook, because they used to do some work for their company. And then I heard their stories and I was like, whoa, okay. Yeah, I'm glad I disconnected from that. And I'm glad that there's people that follow me here. And that's been also kind of illuminating for me just from a social media aspect, because it's really revealed something to me about the true nature of social media. Like, you know, I thought like social media was my lifeline, right? Like I thought, here I am, I'm already like relocated to a new area. That happened for me in 2020, like when everything got shut down. I was no longer in Northern California, and I ended up over here just outside of the Detroit area. And, you know, I know people here, okay, but not many. And I don't really, I haven't really established any strong friendships here. I mean, I have people here that I talk to, and I have people here that they know me, you know, now. And when I come into the restaurant or I'm out running my errands, we drop in and we talk. And I'm also just always kind of been somebody that I like to be active in the community. Like I like to get out and about, and I talk to strangers and I meet people. And especially with the work I'm doing now and the direction that my work is heading in with Broadcoven, I've been talking to a lot of strangers and just having really cool interactions. But I don't have that, like, you know what I mean, that support system of like my childhood friends, and they're across the world from me, so it feels like they're across the world, you know. And so I really relied on social media for that connection. So at first, to lose that and to know I have to, like, I don't have a choice, I gotta leave this, it's not safe for me, I gotta leave this, to know that that was also cutting my lifeline to like what had been a big support for me was hard. But what's weird is it's actually had the opposite effect, because it really sort of separated the wheat from the chaff. Like I learned what people really were connected with me, and what people really did support me, and what people really did care about me, because these are the people that have continued to reach out to me. These are the people that have emailed me. These are the people that have showed up here on YouTube to check in with me. These are the people who sent me a text message. And these are the people who said, let's drop in with each other. Let's talk. And I've had different kinds of quality of conversations and drop in time with people. I've been able to drop in really deep with some people that I haven't been able to for a long time. And it's been good. And I'm actually feeling way more supported and way more connected. And like my connections are a lot more real, and that we're more on the same level than I was feeling on social media. And certainly near the end there, it was like hell. It's like, who are all these people? And they're all telling me, you know, to fix this for them and fix that for them. This is awful. This isn't fun anymore. And then wasn't it funny, because different people from different countries, you know, they have different customs and they view women in different ways. And, you know, you had all these people who didn't, you know, they thought I shouldn't behave a certain way because I'm a woman. I was like, what are you coming around here and telling me how to be? Oh no. So yeah, people I can be truly intimate with. Intimacy is important to me, you know, and people always think of intimacy, it just means like sexually, romantically. No, like your friendship should have intimacy, you know. The connections that really matter to you should have intimacy. Even within the work I do, like when I'm working as an Ayurvedic practitioner, when I'm doing a reading for a client, you know, there's intimacy in that. Intimacy means you're creating like a sacred space around something, you know, it's private. And what's brought into this space is held within this space, and it's held with respect. And we don't, you know, we don't breach that. We honor that, you know, and we can relate on a more real level, right? That's what intimacy means. And there's none of that on social media. And in fact, people will even take your business, they'll run with it, and they'll spin their own narrative on it, and they'll gossip about it on social. It's horrible. Social media, for the most part, is horrible. And that's why I like this. I do like YouTube, because I'm saying it, I'm talking. You can't misconstrue it when I'm speaking it into existence, you know? Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Sometimes I wonder why. I'm like, I don't have all the answers, you know? Hello, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. We're just wrapping up here. You're welcome to watch the replay, though. I hope you will. Thank you for dropping in, though, and saying hello and bringing your voice in. I really do appreciate it. So, yeah, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. And I appreciate that. And it does make me feel really good that people do feel like they can come to me and they think that I have the answers. But a lot of times I'm just figuring things out, too. I think what I'm really good with is I'm a really good space holder. Oh, no apology needed, you know. We kind of did a different time today, you know. Replay will be up. I opened with a reading with this one. So we started out with the tarot, so it's kind of nice. We just go right into the reading. And I kind of like talked about the material for the Panchakarma even as I was doing the reading. So it's really nice. You won't have to like hunt for the reading. It opens up with it right out the gate. So drop in for that. We're just kind of doing a little like chit chat, saying hi, you know, touch and base as a community. So thank you very much. No apology needed. I'm just grateful you dropped in. I'm grateful you said hi. I always love to connect with people. So yeah, I think I'm just good at holding space. I've been through a lot of stuff in my own life. I've been through a really difficult healing process in my own life. I continue to do healing work. I continue to be focused on growth. I have a trauma history, so I know how important it is to hold a certain quality of space around what people share with you. I know that it's really important that we honor agreements with people, and it's important to build trust and to really nourish trust by staying true to what agreements you make with people. And certainly if somebody is like having the courage to be vulnerable with you or share what they're struggling with or share their problems, then you got to hold that sacred, man. You know, that stays between you and that person. Like, you don't breach that. You just don't. And there seems to be a lot of people who don't understand that on social media. And that's a real shame, because it's abusive. It's abusive and it's damaging and it's traumatizing, you know? So I think that that's why people feel like they can come to me, is they know that I'm a person who's, you know, I've been through trauma. I've been through a lot of stuff, and I've done the work, and I've gone through the pain, and I've seen things from many different perspectives. I'm somebody who's had a really hard knock life. It's something I used to begrudge, but I appreciate that I've had that life now, because I understand it makes it so I can relate to a lot of different walks of life, a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds. And that's why I had that experience. And it also helped me know how to move through things, and also helped me understand, just from my own experience, that sometimes the kind of support people need, the choices they make, the things that they go through, like, you don't necessarily understand, and so you have to really be open to hearing about people's experiences and respecting where they're coming from, and that each person's route to healing looks different. Each person's route to forgiveness looks different. There's nothing wrong with it, It gave me a really open mind, and also just a certain desire to hold respect and reverence around people's processing. And so I think that's why people come to me, and I'm grateful that they do. And I feel very honored that people feel they can trust me holding that space, and they absolutely can. It's something that's super important to me, really, really important to me. And I'm pretty fierce with boundaries around it, and I will fight for people. I will fight for people. I don't care if I don't know you, If you bring in something really sensitive, or you're being vulnerable and you're bringing your voice forward, some little troll comes up, I'll rip that troll a new one, in your honor, because that's how seriously I take it, and we need to create more spaces for people where they really do feel safe, like letting down their guards, expressing how they're feeling, bringing their piece forward, and bringing their voice forward, because a lot of times it's a really pivotal point in healing that people underestimate what it means to be witnessed, in like standing in your truth and speaking to it. And not only to be witnessed in it, but to have space held around it, and for it to be respectful, and for somebody to be honored in that, and not shamed or not attacked. It's so important. And even more so if they're bringing forward something that is not popular, right? If they're bringing forward something that's controversial, or if they're bringing forward some way that maybe they did something in the past that they're not proud of, so much of what keeps people locked in trauma loops is shame, so it's like, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I know what a big deal it is, just from my own healing process. So I'm really honored with anybody that lets me hold space for them, whether I'm doing an Ayurvedic consult, or whether I'm doing a counseling session with them, or whether we're doing a reading. I bring the same quality of space into each experience, because to me, it's all the same trip. It's like, we're looking at your sensitive stuff. We're talking about real stuff here. And you're being vulnerable with me, and you're trusting me to hold this for you. So I'm never gonna put you in a position where you regret investing that trust in me. It's hard, right? It's hard to find that kind of space in this world, but we can make it happen. We can create more spaces like that. But that happens on a community level, and community, I look at community, and to me, it's really like two pieces. Like, if we look at the etymology of the word, you have communication, COMM, calm, that word is often used as an abbreviation for communication studies in college, right? So how do we come into unity, which is the second half of the word? Through communication. Communication facilitates the linking of the energy that allows understanding to grow. That also gets us all on the same page, that gets things moving forward. And so a lot of times that communication means we have to talk about things that we don't want to talk about. We have to talk about things that are ugly. We have to talk about things that we're afraid of. Or, as I found out on Facebook, we got to talk about things that are suppressed. And it might put us in kind of like sketchy territory, but it's important. Yes, exactly. We can be the space. We can be the space by holding space, and try loving people where they're at. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, even if somebody is really operating out of ignorance, let's say you're dealing with somebody who's like, they are ignorant, right? Maybe they're a hateful person, all right? Maybe they're an abusive person, all right? We have to remember that this is the hard part. This is the part in really healing society that nobody wants to look at. It's what came in on the Michael Jackson album, all right? We have to learn how to sit across the table from the enemy and find out, how did this sickness get here? And you don't resolve that by fighting fire with fire. So you can't bring forward hatred to match theirs, which that's what we see in politics. We know it doesn't work. My side, you're right, I'm wrong, you're evil, you're the fascist, you know, my side's right. This is just, it's going to destroy us. It already is. It's weakening us. It's weakening us. You can't navigate this new territory that way. We have to learn to hear people out, even their really ugly truths. And then we have to go from there and work our way back. And we have to figure out, okay, how did this get in place? How did this get programmed? How do we create safe spaces around this kind of communication where we bring mediators in? I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. My friend Sonia, we dropped in around this, and they are trained as a mediator, and they're getting training in this. And I'm like, oh, we need so many mediators in the future, because that's exactly what we need. We need to create spaces where there can be mediators that can allow these kind of conversations to come forward, right? And where we can like talk about the really ugly stuff. Do you know that there are people where I actually know a gentleman, a black man, you know, and he has done this. He sat down with people who are like ex-Ku Klux Klan members, all right? And people have been reformed. That's deep. That's deep. And that's the real work. And that's the work nobody wants to do. It's that level. We have to begin first with us, right? Looking at our own biases, looking at our own programming, our own belief constructs, our own conditioning. We've all been conditioned, and we all must accept this. Just look at the scholastic system and how many untruths we grew up with. How much propaganda came into our education. Hello, Columbus. I know what I grew up with around that. Outright lie. Outright lies spun around my ancestry, part of my ancestry. All right. It's really wild. So it's like we can't really look at it on a level where we start really pointing the finger at each other and blaming people. We have to understand we've all been subjected to this. And now we got to figure out together, okay, how do we untangle this mess? It's an infinite cosmic mess. How do we untangle this? We got to do a whole lot of unlearning. We have to look at our own biases. We have to look at our own stuck places. We have to look at some pretty heavy stuff within ourselves. Then we need to take accountability. Then we need to do better, okay? And then we also need to share what we learn with other people. And when we see other people coming from these angles where maybe they don't have an understanding, then we can introduce new ideas to them as well, but not through attacking them, not through publicly shaming them, not through making them wrong, not through fighting fire with fire. No, we say, let's open up a conversation here. There's something that maybe you're not seeing in an accurate way. Maybe I can shed some light. Are you open to having this conversation? You're going to get a lot of no's, but the thing is that doesn't really matter, okay? Anytime you move forward in a new way and try to inject a new kind of consciousness into society, there's going to be resistance, there's going to be backlash, there's going to be people pushing back on this, there's going to be suppression. All of this is going to happen. There's going to be threats, you name it, okay? But the thing is if you do it on your individual level, then you do it within your social circle, then you do it within your community. It's like that same imagery I brought forward here many times about you light your fire first, right? And then you use it just like when you're gathered in a community event, maybe you're holding a vigil for something, right? And we are holding a vigil right now. We're trying to protect, we're trying to preserve like humanity at this point. It's serious, it really is. We're in the final stages of the age of the Kali Yuga. It's make it or break it time, man. We're either going to do it this time or we're not. And the planet will be fine. press reset. I'm convinced that's the story with our planet. I think it's been through many resets, okay? Many. We only know what we know with the science we have available to us, with the carbon dating we have available to us. We have to remember that science is always changing too. Science is not rock solid. Science is based on theory, and then you explore the theory, you find enough circumstantial evidence to support the theory, it becomes science. And science is always constantly changing as new evidence presents itself. So that's all we're doing. We're trying to figure things out. We're trying to understand. Right? She's saying, when we stop being our brother's keeper, we're all responsible for where we are at as a civilization. When we all realize that, we may all find some peace. Yeah, I agree with that. Yep. And it's understanding that it's work we all have to do. Like nobody is further ahead than the other. We really saw that, right? Just on my Facebook with the racial issues. Oh my gosh, was that not illuminating? Nobody got off. Nobody got off scot-free. I thought that was really wild the way that all came forward. It's like, ooh, this, now we're cooking. I was like, this is really progressive kind of work, man. But wasn't it cool? It was like by the end of that, people were like, yep, I kind of see that point. Yep, I get that point too. Oh gosh, yep. Well, damn. And that's what happens when we start talking to each other and we don't just move in this reactionary space and attack and shut down and suppress and try to control. And, if we open up our minds, then it can become a teachable moment for everybody, so I'm glad you resonated with it. All right, y'all. I love you all, but my throat is starting to give out on me. I've been losing my voice. I've been doing a lot of lives lately. I've been really enjoying it and loving it, but my throat starts to say, okay, it's time to do a saltwater gargle and kind of be quiet for the rest of the night. But I really enjoyed having you all drop in, and I hope you're enjoying the course. Can I ask, when will you be bringing Cal back? I am in talks with Cal. I'm going to be reaching out to Cal and getting something set up. She has agreed to come on, and we're going to do Lilith astrology. We're going to talk about the Lilith archetype. We're going to be talking about the asteroid Lilith and the role that plays in astrology. And it is an asteroid that's very front and center right now. That Lilith energy also is very much in harmony with this Pluto energy and with it moving into Capricorn. Absolutely. It is that kind of that rebellion and rebelling against power structures. Oh, it'll be juicy. It's, I see you're all for it. And see, Cal's a prime example of that because see, Cal's real old school, right? We're from different generations, right? I'm a Generation Xer. And Cal's, probably, I don't know what Cal would be considered. What, boomer generation as they label? Whatever. I don't know. I don't get stuck in a bunch of those labels because I'm a Discordian. But, people like to compartmentalize things, okay? But Cal's older than me. She's my elder. I have a lot of respect for Cal. She's a font of wisdom. But she comes from a different era. And so there's some points where Cal sees things differently than me, We're on different pages. I'm like, well, I hear you there, but... Boomer, yeah. I hear you there, but there's this that you're not really looking at, or you don't really understand this. Even sometimes when she is giving me she's joking around with me, but at the same time she's kind of giving me shit for the fact that I was a burlesque dancer at one point. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a burlesque dance again. You never know. I still have a feather fan dance that is on my bucket list that I want to do down on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Okay, so, but that's very much a generational mindset. You know what I mean? And for me, I had a whole different experience of what burlesque meant to me. You see what I mean? So there's times when we diverge in our views, but what's great about me and Cal is that we let each other have our views. You know what I'm saying? And we talk about it and we bring it out in the open. Yep. And we're the same in this way. We're both like straight shooters. Like, yeah, well, I feel about it like this. Or you feel about it like that? Well, I think this, you know? And there's some stuff that, you know, I bring in that will ruffle people's feathers. There's some stuff that she brings in that will ruffle people's feathers. And a lot of it has to do with generationally. It does. That's what I noticed with me and Cal. It's like, it's very generational. Like there's some people that she'll bring something in and people will be really like, oh yeah, you know, and there'll be other people that are like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And vice versa. It works both ways. You know, the people that are more in alignment with, you know, Cal's generation, some of the stuff I bring in, they're like, I don't know. You know, but it's good because at the end of the day, people appreciate the way we ping pong off of each other and they like the way we talk to each other. And they can tell that me and Cal have a genuine love for each other. We have a genuine respect for each other, even when we don't totally see things the same way. And we like to razz each other. It's just the nature of our relationship. And she's brilliant. She is. She's a freaking brilliant astrologer. You will not find a better astrologer. You will not. You won't. She's brilliant. She is brilliant. She does have her finger on the pulse of that. And so I just like learning from her too. I really like it. So yes, Cal will be coming on. Okay. Probably we're looking at either like end of October, like right around, you know, Halloween, Samhain time, or opening of November before we get really into the thick of the holiday season. Okay. Yeah, we do. We love each other. And we're also, we're in the same place with our progress charts right now. We both have our suns moved into Sagittarius at 10 degrees. So it's really kind of cool. We're very much in sync in a lot of ways, even though we're different in ways too. But it's all love and it's all respect, even in the cases where we see things differently. So, you know, so I already asked her, can we do this? People are going to want to see you. Let's come in for a live, you know, let's do Lilith astrology. And she's like, well, hell, what the hell? Let's do it. And this stuff is kind of different for Cal. You know, Cal's not really this person who does like a lot of like, you know, online stuff. It's not really Cal's arena, you know, and Cal's kind of more shy and more reserved and kind of like, is always kind of like, she refers to herself as a freak, you know, as a weirdo, much like I do too. But she's always kind of like kept it kind of like, you know, more undercover because she's found there hasn't really been an avenue for her to really bring that forward. Whereas here I'm like, go ahead, let your freak flag fly, you know? So she's always really nervous about coming on, but then she comes on and she's like, oh, that was really exciting, you know, or she really gets jazzed up with the interaction. And so she's going to love that people are, I always tell her, like, people really want to see you again. Let's keep doing it. It works, you know, people enjoy it. So yes, Cal Garrison's going to come back on and we're in the process of nailing down when we're going to schedule that and make it work. Okay. But it's going to be all about Lilith. We want to get spicy with it. We're just going to talk about Lilith archetype, Lilith mythos, the story of Lilith, all the associations with Lilith astrology, you know, going into the asteroid and the effect that has. And I'm going to let her totally like go down the rabbit hole with that because I just like, you know, with me, with astrology, I'm learning, but she's, I'm not worthy, you know. I totally defer to her in that regard, you know, whereas I handle more of the tarot end of stuff. So, yeah. All right, loves, I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you enjoy the second week of our PANCHAKARMA. I hope you will go and get those free courses on cobrasmedicinebag.com if you haven't already, and that you'll really work this week, you know, and that you'll give yourself this 4-day resilience reset. Use these next 3 days, get yourself prepared, get yourself on lock. If you haven't already, drop in for that meditation, visioning, whale medicine journey I did last night for us. It's a really good, support for the work we got ahead of us this week. And yeah, I'll have more coming in this week. All right. There'll be more posts coming up. I'll be seeing you all on Saturday. Okay. Not going to be around Friday. I might drop in just to enjoy receiving stuff on YouTube. Maybe say hi to people, but I'm not going to be uploading anything Friday. All right. Yes. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you too. Have a wonderful day. And yeah, I'll see you all around. And if I don't see you later tonight, just in interacting on the different videos and posts, I'll be catching you on Saturday. Because what is today? Is today Wednesday or is today Thursday? What day is it? I don't know what day it is. Is it Thursday? Oh my goodness, I don't know what day it is. Well, if today is Thursday, see, that tells you how down the rabbit hole I've been. If today is Thursday, then I will not be seeing you until Saturday when I do the live, okay? So have a wonderful night. Take care, and thanks for dropping in. Thank you, Amy Lay. Good to see you. Mwah. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you all later.